I hope you can hear me. Welcome back. Yes, thank you. So please give me a thumbs up if you're back. Thank you for your patience with this shorter lunch. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ryan. Good. Vadim, Jean, Ryan, Wilson, are you back? Thank you, Wilson. Victor, Alex, Casey, are you back at your desk? All right, thank you, Alex. So while I'm waiting for all the users here in the class, I'm going to go ahead and extract our lesson 13 to save a couple minutes. I'll go ahead, let me make sure my screen is shared again. I had to refresh my class. Thank you for being here with me. So this lesson is pretty quick. I'm just going to click on one button and I'll be creating an automatic PLC symbol. So all you're going to do is just like we were generating a drawing for terminal blocks in the last couple lessons, when we created a terminal strip drawing, in the same way, I'm expecting from my PLC symbols generation, right? So I'm going to close this lesson for a moment. So this is an environment zip file .tew zip. It's not an actual project. So which is why I used unarchive environment button. It's bringing in one project for me, one manufacture part for me, 5 macros. So in this lesson, we will be using macros in our PLCs. So if I have a PLC symbol, and let's say if Alex tells me, Vip, for your first input, I want you to show a wire so and so, show a push button, and then show a wire continuing after the push button. So I have different macros that they're giving us in this lesson that we can use, and we can link macros for each and every input and each and every output. So not only our symbol, but also our detailed connections, the wire connections will be completed using this process of inserting PLC symbols. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. So I'll ask them to please give me the project. Next, add a manufacture part for me. Next, all these macros are coming in. This is what we're going to link with PLC inputs and outputs. So I'm going to say, please give me a fresh copy, replace them. Since I already had them in my library, I'll go next. All the backend profiles. So someone was asking all the system data, just like we have different configurations. So I believe these profiles have some another administrative settings saved in there, but we never really get into this. I can later on, after 4 o'clock, I can show you under the configurations window. There are some profile configurations that we can modify. Okay, so I'm going to click finish, finish, open the project. Let's see what do we have. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the project that they just added for me. So I'll close this window, go to my project manager, click on unarchive, not unarchive, I'll get to my all projects list and my project is here. I extracted it using environment button. So I'm going to double click, open the project, check if I have the drawings. This time, I'm not going to waste time in this automation PLC symbol creation lesson 13. I'm not going to waste time adding 2 new drawings, and then I won't waste time um, opening those drawings and dropping symbols manually. All I'm going to do is right from my project tab, PLC's manager, either I can add PLC here. Once I define all the descriptions and settings, then I'll click on this big button called generate drawings. And I'm going to expect this button is going to create, if I need 2 schematic drawings, it will create 2. If I need 3, it's going to give me 3 new drawings. So in my documents tab, it's going to add those drawings for me. And then I'll tell them, please put my inputs on the first schematic page, outputs on the second schematic page. So let's see how to do. So I showed you in the last lesson, there are 2 ways to add a PLC component. One method, I can get to the components list, right click on one of the locations, brand new, these buttons added here, or if I go to project tab and add it from here, it's the exact same thing. So I showed you in last lesson, if I add a component here for PLC, it's going to show here. If I add it here using this add button, it will show back here. So it doesn't matter which method you use. So Ted, if you're back, please give me a thumbs up that you're here. So give me a thumbs up again if you all are here watching. Automatic PLC symbol insertion. Vadim, Spike, are you back?
Your microphone just swapped over again, I think, from
Oh,
your headset.
oh, you're right. You caught it right. Yes. Is it better now?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think Ted has stepped away for some emergency. He pinged me a message, but Victor's not here. All right, that's fine. He will join. Okay, then. So I'm going to use this automatic method. You might like it or not. It's up to you. Do you want to use the previous lesson method or this method, automatic method? So I'm going to add a same PLC, add PLC. I can use the last lesson, we used a mark button. In this lesson, I can use the second button to add PLC component, manufacture part. Which part are you looking for? Remove your filters. So when you pick a type, you cannot pick a base or auxiliary for PLC. It has its own special type called PLC. So I'm going to type in my reference number SR3B261B. So when I have a bunch of PLCs showing up for me, the first PLC I see here is the one that I need, ending with B for Bob, the same PLC we used in the last lesson. So this PLC, if I click on it, you can also go check the properties of the PLC, all the name description properties. The circuits tab is bringing in additional circuits for the inputs and outputs. All my input outputs are here, just like we had normally open, normally closed relay coil. This time we have digital PLC input. If you're telling me, Vip, I have an analog PLC, so you would be finding that part number. Then instead of digital, it would show you analog PLC input output type of circuit. But in my case, I don't have to get into the details because when I click on it, I can see the preview. It's a digital PLC. Circuits are digital, not analog. I want to add it to my middle shopping basket. Double click on it or click on plus sign. So I'm going to go double click, add it to the middle basket, hit selector OK. So now a lot of users would complain, if I don't see any circuits. Why? Because you clicked on the name of lesson. When you click on an actual name of the PLC, you can see your circuits. Now you can do all the description details before you click generate drawing button. So if you check the last page of this lesson number 13, automation lesson, can you tell me how many inputs do I need? Look on page number 260, please. 260. How many inputs do I need? How many inputs am I using in that picture on the left? Who's going to tell me? How many connections do you see? 4. Thank you, Spike. So I'm going to grab my first 4 inputs. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you read this terminal column. Terminal column is giving you the terminal number. So you know which ones are inputs and which ones are outputs, starting with Q. So you can also look at this address column or physical address. You know the inputs. When we did the ladder logic diagrams, if you know how the PLCs work, for outputs, they use O as alphabet. Somehow, I don't know why they use Q here for outputs. And for inputs, we use I. But you cannot change that. So it's program defined. It's hard coded. We cannot change that, right? Unless you're going back to the manufacture part properties and trying to change it there, you can try there. Okay. So I'm going to use 4 inputs. Pick one, hold shift, click on the last item. So I can click on the first item, hold shift, click on the last one. It selects all 4. Right click and I'll click on this button, add a new PLC input output. So I'm telling them that, hey, if I make it expand this, now you can see a mnemonic column appeared up for you since you completed that step. How many outputs do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at a picture, second diagram on page 260. So I'm going to scroll down. I'll say I need 5 outputs, please. So I'm going to hold shift, multi-select, and 5, right click, and I'll go ahead and say add a new PLC input output. I'm telling them I need to use these 5 outputs. So now you said, VIP, I want to show inputs on one page, outputs on the second page. So maybe Ted's gonna say, VIP, I want to use 2 extra inputs and show them on my symbol. So I'll say, okay, fine. 4 of them, we have already used them. If you want to leave this one on and this one on, I leave the light bulb on because when I click generate button, anything that has been used, I told that I'm using 4 inputs will be shown. Anything that has a light bulb on will be shown in the drawing. But then I'll say I only want to see number 5 and 6 as pair. I don't want to see any other inputs. So I'm going to hold shift, multi-select, right click. I'll click on this hide button, hide bulb button, click on hide, toggle it off, let them go. So now if I'm going to generate a drawing, I'm going to see anything that has a light on or anything that I'm using. So anything that has light toggled off will not be shown in my drawing when I click generate drawing button. So same way for the outputs. If Tom tells me, VIP, show 1 extra output number 6, I might use it in future. Sure. Then I'm going to grab number 7 and anything after holding shift, right click, I'll say hide them, don't show them in the drawing, and I'm leaving one spare. But now Tom says, VIP, show your inputs on one page, outputs on the other page. So I'm going to go to my last input here, right click on it. Last button here is add a page break. So which means if I click on this add a page break, the first column is a page break column. If you added a page break at a wrong spot, you can right click and you can say remove page break. So you can add it or you can remove it, right? So I added it, which means when I click generate drawing, anything above the page break will be on one page, anything below the page break will be on second page. If I add 2 page breaks, then I'll have 1, 2, 3 schematic pages. So page break is giving me the number of pages that I want. So give me a thumbs up if it makes sense so far. Please tell me if it does make sense to you. All right. So now the last part here is I can go ahead and spend few minutes and define the description here on the very right, or you could expand this window, describe description, double click. This is my start push button if that's what I want. But the book is telling me, VIP, don't waste time typing in the description. If you get to your folder structure, we gave you lesson 13 Excel sheet. So I'm going to go open up my case study PLC Excel sheet and I'll copy paste my description from here. I'm not going to waste typing it. So let's go quickly. All the way on the bottom, I want to copy the start, stop, all these control C, minimize this, minimize this. Let's get back to our, you don't have to pre-select first the select inputs. No, anything you told them that you're using it, automatically it stores in your input output manager. So you would see all input outputs here. If you're telling me, VIP, I'm not happy with the sequence, if they're showing up and down, you can click on the column address and you can rename rearrange it like this, or you can go to multi-select, go to the data grid. This is where I'm going to click here once on the first box, control V. But before I paste it, I'm going to have a look inputs are showing in the right sequence, because before I paste it, I don't want to have them up and down. So I'll do control V, 4 inputs and 5 outputs. I've got my descriptions added. If I'm not happy with mnemonic address, I can type in here I semicolon or slash, whatever you want to put it. Number 1 for my first output, which is the 5th one here, I can say O. Um, I can put a semicolon and then number 5. So you can rename your mnemonic address. You've got your description added. Click OK and close this. You've got your description added here. Now, is there anything that you think is missing before I click generate drawing button? What do you think is missing? Who's going to define if my PLC symbol is going to be a vertical symbol? If I'm putting a vertical symbol, is it going to be on the left of the page or right of the page? Or if I'm using a horizontal symbol, is it going to be on the top of the page or bottom of the page? Who's going to define that? So who's defining the orientation of the symbol? Who remembers this? Where's the orientation coming from? Please tell me who remembers this. Vertical, horizontal, PLC orientation. Yes, Jean?
It's under the project.
Configuration. Yes, you got it. So if I close this window, it's under the project. Configurations drop-down menu, it's coming from here, from PLC, right? So we would be picking it from here. So if I delete one of these configurations that I do not need, what my project is using right now is this one, the highlighted one. But if I get back to the same project tab, PLC's manager window, before I click generate drawing button here, I can pick my configuration right here. So then you would say, VIP, in last class, you created a configuration on Ted's name, or I think I used Alex's name. Then you would say, VIP, why don't you see Alex's style here? So can anyone tell me why Alex's configuration we created in last lesson is not here? Jean, can you answer that? Why don't I see
Good.
Alex's configuration?
You just deleted it. Wasn't that the one you deleted?
No, that was some another students that I
Oh,
created. Yes, Jean, I'm using a different project here. Remember, all these
oh yeah.
properties change in the project or save in the template. So it's a different project. If you're telling me, Vip, I love that Alex's one, can we use it here? Then I have to go back to the previous project, open it up. So let's say you're telling me, Vip, I love one of your configurations from here. Can you email that to me? I can grab it, archive a copy, save a local copy. So I can give it a good name. I can say this is Jeans PLC Imperial Units configuration. And I can save it in my downloads folder, email it to you. When you would get to your template, you would use this archive button and add it to your template to your project, right? So that's how you can move it from one template to the other. So save it and unarchive it. Good answer, Spike. Thank you. Thank you, Jean. So now I'm not happy with what I have here. So I want to specify my own beautiful configuration. I can create a duplicate copy of one of these using a duplicate button, or I can click on arrow key, make it go green, and I can right click and change the properties of this. If I'm changing properties and I create a new one, I'll call it jeans vertical PLC style. In last lesson, we did horizontal. In the lesson, this time we'll do vertical. So I'm going to change the description of it to jeans vertical PLC style. I'm knowingly typing in description so you would know when we use this, it shows description, not the name. So next one is the size. It's vertical, or do you want horizontal? I want vertical symbol. I don't care about the height and width. You can change that. You know, the layout is the insertion point. But what I'm worried about is the connection point. A lot of people will complain, Vip, I see a rectangular symbol, but there are no pin details. I don't see pin A, B, C, D. The manufacturer part catalog terminal number data is not showing up. It's because your terminals are missing from your connection point. So they're already prepared for you that if Ryan puts a symbol on the left of the page, vertical symbol, and the tags will be shown in this orientation. If VIP puts a symbol on the right of the page, the symbol for the tags for connection points would be this one. If you're not happy with it, you can click on pencil sign, edit it, open it, make changes. I'll leave it as it is. I'm not changing much. But if you don't like that orientation like this, you want it nice and straight, you can open the symbol, flip orientation. So you would see these symbols when you open this, edit this, it opens that in the background for you, and each symbol will have an insertion point. That insertion point is the point for your connection point, right? So give me a thumbs up if it makes sense what this connection point tag is. What is that? What data it's gonna pull out for you? Your manufacturer terminal data. Ted, Casey, Alex, Tom. Yeah. Okay, then. So the last part here now is the circuits tab. So this is where I'm going to tell them, hey, put my inputs on the left of the page, right of the page. Put my inputs, in this case, it's left, right. In the previous example, in the last lesson, we had a horizontal symbol. You would see top and bottom. In this case, because I picked the orientation vertical, I'm showing it on the left of the page or right of the page. If it would be a horizontal PLC, then I would show it on the top of the page or bottom. So if it's vertical, get to the circuits tab. So now Vadim's telling me, Vip, can you show me my power supply with the inputs on, refer to the same picture on page number 260. Can you tell me, Spike, on page 260, are input symbols shown on the left of the page or right of the page? Input symbol, the left one.
On the,
Which direction? Uh-huh.
the inputs are on the left.
Ooh. I mean the actual symbol, the rectangular shape symbol.
Oh, it's on the right, sorry.
Yes, right of the page, right? So then I'm going to say, hey, I want my power supply. So can you tell me the circuits that I'm going to select here are going to be the same circuits that are coming from the manufacturer part? So if Brian tells me, Vip, I'm using an analog PLC, then I'll be defining the direction for the circuit's analog PLC input, left side or right side, or analog PLC output. In this case, I have three types of circuits for the same PLC pod that I purchased, SR3B pod that we bought. It's called a power supply. So I'm telling, please put my power supply on the right of the page, right, and click apply button. So then I'll say, with my power supply on the right of the page, I also want to show my inputs. So I'll say, please, digital PLC input. So who's going to tell me why am I using digital PLC input? Why not analog in this example? Not worried about analog direction, but the input, digital input direction. Please tell me why. Yes, because I bought a PLC that's a digital PLC. The type of circuits it has is digital inputs and outputs. If I would buy analog PLC, I would define analog circuits. Thank you, Gene. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my digital PLC input. I'll say, please show it on the same direction as my power supply, right of the page. If direction is already correct, apply button is grayed out. What I do is I still choose the wrong direction, then pick the correct direction that I want. Then I'll click apply to make sure I'm applying that property. So the last one here, if you see when I apply the right direction for the input, so I chose, I want to show my input symbol on the right of the page. Automatically, these two properties became highlighted, that Vip's not putting the symbol on the left. She's putting it on the right, which means my symbol is going to be here. Connection points are going to be on this side of the page if my page looks like this. And all the tags that I see, look at this, the description, start push button, stop push button, which is why it's vertical like this, or this is at the actual description. So it's going to put that on the connection points for me. These are the tags it's going to use, and it's also going to put a macro for me. If you see, if I put my inputs on the right here, at every connection point, if I'm using a macro, at every, so this macro has an insertion point on this corner. If I open this symbol, it's going to snap every of my connection point. All my inputs will have this normally open push button, right? So if you're telling me, Vip, who cares? I don't want to put input or normally open push button for all the inputs, then you can delete this. But I'm going to show you that if I have the macro defined here, it's going to put a same macro for all the inputs. Now, if I do the same thing for outputs, digital PLC output, I want to show it on the left of the page, pick my left direction. I'm knowingly flipping to the wrong one because I want to activate the apply button. So apply. So now you can see they show me a preview that Vip's putting a symbol on the left of the page, which means if she puts it here, each connection point is going to show a tag, which the tag is coming from here. And these macros have insertion point on this side. If my symbol is here, at every output, I'm going to see this relay coil symbol. So I'm going to apply this, close this. I love this Gene's PLC style configuration. If I want to save it for future, I can click on it, click on this arrow. If I would not change the name and description and I click on arrow after making property changes, it's going to say, Vip, same name already exists. Do you want to override it? But this time, if I click on the arrow, it's adding a new copy for me. I can grab this, right click, make it default. That automatically select this for me, make it default for my project. So now when I get back to my actual project, my project tab, my PLCs tab, if I'm clicking on this before I hit generate drawing button, you have to pick the right configuration. So if it's using default, it will automatically use the Genes one, but you can see it shows the description here, right? N- no, both of them, even if one is different, Spike, even if the name or description, one of them is different, it still gives you a new copy. Okay. So let's say if I do that again, if I go back to my project configurations PLC, and if I already have jeans one on this side, if I try to click arrow again, it's going to say, Vip, what are you doing? The same name already does exist. Do you want to replace it? Then I'll say, yeah, that's fine, like this. So if I change one of the names or description, if I go to properties and if I type in the name, actual name text with the name, description with description, CRIPTION, and click, oh, I can change only one item, this. So now if I close this, try to save it again, it's going to give me, so it gave me a new copy. So it's actually picking a name. So see the second one, I changed the name. So the name is what matters in this list. Spike, does that answer your question? If I add it again, then it's going to say, hey, your name matches, right? Awesome. So I'll close this. I'm going to delete the extra one that I added. I don't need that. I don't want to confuse you. I've got one for Gene. So now when I go to my project tab, generate a drawing, I'm going to say, hey, I want to use the default one, which is Gene's, or I can manually pick. Please use Gene's style, the green one, the one that I modified. And the color green kind of helps me. I don't have to bother reading the names. I can say, ah, green one was the one I was modifying. I can pick it. So my date, my page break is added. Anything I want to use, I've used it. And anything that I do not want to show, the light bulb is off. And my output description is added. My configuration is ready. Now I'm going to click on generate drawing button. And it's asking me, Vip, do you want to create a new folder? I don't care. I'm putting it in this book. Click OK and OK, and I'll generate those drawings. But there's going to be a one problem because I'm using a same macro for all the inputs, same macro for all the outputs. Get to your documents tab, double click, open your drawing. Aha, see, right of the page, my descriptions here. Each and every input is using this macro. This macro had an insertion point on this side, which is why it snapped it. So which means if that tells me VIP, I'm going to put my symbol for inputs on the left of the page, then these macros will not work for you. So book already knew that VIP is going to follow the book. She's going to put the symbol on the right. So they gave me macros with the right insertion point. If that tells me VIP, I want to put symbol on the left, I don't want to follow the book, then I'll have to modify this macro, change insertion point on the left so it can snap the connection point on the left. So give me a thumbs up if it makes sense how the macro had insertion point on this side. So you have to save two types of macros, right side macro, left side macro, with insertion points on two different corners. Yeah. Okay, it's going to make a lot more sense now in the last step. I'll manually add a macro. So if Ryan and Vadim tell me, Vip, I'm not happy with your result, you're using a normally open push button for all the inputs. I don't want the same macro. Change it for me. So I'm going to get back to this drawings tab. You can also check out your output symbol. It's adding a relay for all. Alex is going to say, Vip, I want a valve as a second output, fan as third, motor as fourth. So I'm going to delete both these drawings, right click, delete. And last step is I'm going to change the macros for all the inputs and outputs. So I'll close this symbol. I don't want to modify this. I'll get to my project tab, PLC's manager, click on it. My configuration is selected, but last column here is my macro column. You can click on this button and say, if you want to use a macro from configuration, which it's already using, you do not want to use macro at all, or do you want to select your own macro? So I'm going to click on this button, select a macro. I'll get to filters, remove my filters. And this time they asked me to use a macro. Look on a picture on page 259, a big yellow picture right on the top. So the name of macro is start macro. Hey, look, I'm putting my insertion point. Ooh, start. Look at that. They told us we put a symbol for the inputs on the right of the page. So this macro has insertion point here, so it can perfectly snap my connection point for each circuit. So insertion point is on the right hand side. So I'm picking a start button. For the second one, I want my stop push button, filters tab, remove filters, type in the name, stop push button, double click. For last two, I want to use the same one, alarm. I'll multi-select holding Control or Shift. Click once, select a macro, get to filters, remove filters, and the name of the macro is alarm. Alarm, double click. I'll use my alarm, same one for both. For the outputs, for the first one, I want to select a relay they gave me in the environment that I extracted. I'll type in relay. Hey, look at this. In this case, I'm putting the symbol on the left for outputs. Insertion point is on this side. I hope it makes sense now. So for the last four outputs, I need the same symbol. I'll hold Shift, click once, select a macro, filters, remove filters. I'll type in walls. Double click. I'll use the same macro for all. Now I can get back to the generate drawing button. I don't have to highlight anything. I'll blindly click generate drawings after picking the right configuration. So I'll close this window, get to my drawings, double click. Aha, see? I've got my different push buttons and alarms for my inputs. If you're telling me, Vip, I don't care about your macros, don't use them then, right? So do the same thing for the output, double click. Okay, I've got my relay, I've got my valves. I can go, both the symbols are represented for N1 component, right click, go to browser. You can see this guy is showing two symbols, inputs and outputs. Component got created. And now I can jump to one symbol, double click, jump to second symbol, double click. Or I can go from outputs to inputs, right click, go to. Or I can go from inputs to outputs, right click, go to outputs. So any questions with this automatic PLC symbol generation, please? Could you all do this for me? So Spike's asking a question, could you use the PLC type for adding a microcontroller to a schematic, or would that be better done as a component? Use the PLC type for adding a microcontroller to a schematic. So if Spike, I can look at your lab and see what you're trying to achieve. I can assist you with that. But if I get to project tab and PLC component itself, you can click on the components. You can add any of those microcontrollers components using these buttons here, or you could also do it on the right click here. And you can also, I believe you can add them here. If not, then that's the only button you could add it from project, PLCs, and then you would add the symbols in the same manner. I change my filters, if I'm searching another component here, let's say if I add a new PLC for adding a controller that you're looking for, right click, add a brand new PLC, mark or manufacturer part, either way, get to manufacturer tab, search. You can play with all the filters that are available. So I can change my type. I've only got PLC and a rack type. I don't see anything else. So that's all I have. Right? But if you're adding something in your own library, you can change that property and you can have a lot more items, right? You have to define that in your library. But everything you would see in the document or the component tree, all of those will be called components, right? All of them would be components. And they would only show in your bill of material list if manufacturer part numbers are defined. If you don't define them, then they are just dump components. They would not show in your BOM. We'll learn that in the last lesson. So spend about 10 minutes. This is a pretty quick lesson. Just click on generate drawing button and generate that symbol for me, please. So it should take you less than 10. I'm going to check any couple labs. And exercise is 13, page 261. Thank you, guys. Exercise number 10. Ted, are you back from the... I'll start checking your labs. Don't bother adding the descriptions. Please add just one or two. Don't waste time adding description. We need to save time. Thank you. If you need any help, let me know. I can help you. I'm sitting free. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Alex. Mm, okay. Thank you. Who finished it? If you have some problems on your symbol, that's okay. I can help you fix it. We've got a couple minutes. Who wants to be a presenter? Please tell me. No one? Did you not like this method? Vadim, do you want to show your screen to us? I, Okay. Alrighty. All right, Vadim, I'm going to help you so people can watch and learn. All right. So did you create a configuration on the blue line in the last column? You can pick which configuration you created. So go to the drop-down menu, Vadim. The last blue line, last column, which is your configuration. Which one did you create? Did you not create one in step 1, 2, and 3? Okay, that's fine. You can use the 12 channels. We can fix that. That's fine. Use that. So make this upper rectangular window smaller so you can see a lot more circuits down. So expand this. Good. So grab the middle line here and move it up. Very good. Ooh. I know on virtual machine it's a bit glitchy. So if you do not see any circuits on the bottom, click on it. Very good. So good job with adding using the ones that you want to use. And let's add a page break after number 6. So right click on number 6 input. Last button is no, next one. Right? No, one above this. So the same last one you want to show, add a page break. Good job. It's going to break your sheet into 2 different pages. Now inputs on one page, outputs on the other. So hold all the middle ones after the page break. The yellow ones, you want to hide them. You don't want to show them. So select them all, the yellow lights, holding shift, right click and click on hide button that, hey, don't show me extra inputs on the drawing picture. Go down and now grab all the extra yellow outputs and hide them. Good job. Select them all, right click, hide. Very good. So you added 2 page breaks. I don't care about descriptions. That's fine. Now we need to fix the configuration to pick a good direction that we need. So close this window for a moment. Configuration, fix the properties of it. We'll come back here. So close the pop-up window. Ooh, get back to your program. Thank you. You can grab that gray bar instructor looking at your screen and drop it on the very left, please. Grab the gray bar on the bottom instructor looking your screen. You can grab it and move it away. On the left, move it to the left. Yes, that's fine. Open the same lesson 13, double click. Let's get to your PLC configuration styles. Project tab, drop down menu of configurations. So click on electrical project. Go to the big gear button, configurations, drop down menu. There's a small arrow, PLCs. Let's fix the 12 channels one. Double click on the 12 channels one, the highlighted one. Let's fix the properties that we want. Double click. Good. So only thing we need to fix is get to the circuits tab, second last tab. This is where you need to define. If you look at a last picture on page 264, they want your inputs on the right of the page. So pick your power supply circuit, power supply, circuit type. When you click on that default drop-down list, click P on the keyboard, P for power supply, P for Paul. Use power supply, put it on the right of the page, change direction to right, and click apply on the bottom. So there are 3 types of circuits. Our real part is bringing in power supply and it's bringing in inputs. So grab your circuit type digital PLC input, change it now. Digital PLC input, change the direction. So pick a wrong direction, then pick the correct one, the right direction, then click apply button on the bottom. So change it to the left and then change it back to the right again. Now your apply button will be activated on the bottom. Good. The last circuit, the part that we purchased, is bringing in digital PLC output. So we want it on the left of the page. You can see on the last picture in step number 9, outputs are on the left. Grab left, click apply, and close. Close this window. Now click on PLC Manager button right on the big PLC button on the Project tab. PLCs. Now let's click on the PLC, generate a PLC drawing. Click and generate button. Generate drawings button. Amazing. Click OK on the bottom, generate it. And let's check your result. So we did not bother to change a macro, and that's fine. So close this window. Close this window. Let's check your drawings. Go to your Documents tab. Thank you, Vadim. You're a very good listener. Expand your book. Check your drawing 6 and 7. Double click. Yay, inputs are on the right. Double click, check your outputs on the left. See how you can automate this process. I hope you feel better now with this. So any final questions before we do a similar thing for our connectors now? Lesson 14. Any questions, please? If you don't like this method, you don't have to use this. You could use what we learned in lesson 12, a manual method of right-clicking on the PLC component, inserting PLC. So thank you, Spike. Let me check your lab. So this is the last lab I'm checking before we move to the next lesson. So you don't have a PLC component yet. In this lesson, there is no PLC. Click on add, use one button, one or the other. It's the same thing. Click. So this is great and one PLC, but which company's part are you buying? Right on the top, go to the manufacturer tab. Right on the top, search. Click on the first button, search. You would use create button if you don't have that PLC in your library. So find the part number SR3B261B. Use the reference column. Under the manufacturer, there is reference number. So the book says, look at the picture reference column or step number 4, SR3B261B. 1B for Bob. Click on search. Use the first PLC, double click and add it. Double click, middle one is your shopping cart. Thank you, Spike. Click OK, move this away, select it. Good. So close this window. Okay, so click on N1 PLC. Now you can define your properties, your description. So Spike, you don't have to add your PLC in this PLC's manager. If you're looking at my screen for a second, please, you could use the same old method from last lesson. Get to your component tree, right click on location, brand new PLC. It's the same button here. Does that make sense?
It does.
Awesome.
I'm just curious. I in the configuration.
You fixed the configuration, you added one?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so now you can see you're confused. Which one is the one you modified? All of them are red. So close this window for a second, please. Let's get to your configurations backend and move it to the project level. Make it green. So click on configurations drop-down menu on project tab. Drop down PLC. Grab the one that you created and use the blue arrow and move it on the right. Make it green. So when you use it, then you would know which one is the one that you want to use. Close this window now. Get back to your PLC tab. Good. Click on it. Grab your PLC configuration. Drop down menu when you see it. Pick a green one if that's the one. And now you cannot click generate drawing because you have to add a page break. If you would not add a page break, you won't hide what you do not need. You would see everything that has a light bulb on, right? So there are a few more steps that we need to do, and that's fine. You can save this exercise. I'm going to help you after the class with this, but leave it here, please. We don't have more time. But you got an idea, the step you were stuck on. Oh, Victor's got 3 drawings. What happened? Why? So I've seen people missing couple steps. So let's see Victor's lab. One last question we have. Where's Victor? Victor really pings a message. I'm happy you're here. Okay, so bring me back to your, delete these 3 drawings, please. First, select all 3, let them go. Take me back to the PLC manager on the project tab. Click on Big PLCs button on this tab. Let's see, click on this. How many page breaks did you add? Ooh, you did not add a page break. So it automatically gave you 3 pages because it could fit that on 3 pages. So pick your last input number 6, I6. Right click on the 6th input. Right click, last button is add page break. So now it's going to break it into 2 pages, 1 and 2. But you see anything under the blue line, they have light bulbs on. You don't want to see the yellow light is on, which means it's going to show up in the drawing. So you need to select all the extra inputs, multi-select them holding shift, and you have to turn the light bulb on or make it off. That don't show in my drawing. Right click, use the hide button, please. Hide for PLC symbol insertion. So now Extra outputs can be hidden. Multi-select holding shift. Right click, hide. Now click on generate drawing button. Make sure your right configuration is selected on the top line item. On the very first blue line, last column is configuration. Is that what you want? The default one? Pick the green one, please, if that's what you want. Now click generate drawing. You would only get 2 drawings now. Can you test that? Thank you. So close. Open the drawings. If you did a great job with configuration, which you did, so proud of you. Thank you, Victor. Thank you. All right. Thank you for everyone's. Thank you to you guys for your hard work. Thanks. So give me a thumbs up if it kind of makes sense. Why did we use this method? Or like I said, you could pick one or the other, which works best for you. A lot of people will say, VIP, I'm never going to use this automatic method. Fine, then use the manual one, right? The same one we did before. Right click on the PLC, insert a symbol manually using insert PLC. If you're telling me you've got a symbol in library, you would use insert symbol button. Find it from the library. So please give me a happy smiling face. If you want me to move on to the next lesson, connectors lesson, which is very similar to what we did in PLCs. Tom said, I want to get comfortable with manual. Yes, definitely. Because then you would know what all properties you want to define. What factors do you want to control? I agree with that. Thank you, Tom. So Ryan, Wilson, are you happy with this? Can we jump on to lesson 14 now? Alex, Victor, and Tom are pretty mad at me that I'm teaching too much. No smiling from them. Okay. All right. So I'm going to open my lesson 14 now, connectors lesson. I can see the smiles increasing, rising. Unarchive, lesson 14. Connectors. The process is exactly the same what we did in PLC. It's an environment. So I'm going to use unarchive environment button. Maybe they want to add few items for me in the library for lesson 14. Connectors. Next, finish. Oh no, it did not add any project for me. I didn't bother to look at the project tab. I have to bring it again because I already have 14 extracted at some point. So it's set to do nothing. I'll say, no, please give me a duplicate copy, add another one for me, a fresh one for me. Next tab, it's adding bunch of symbols. I can make them replacement, give me fresh symbols. Next one, manufacture parts from FCI, Harvin Company. Finish. Now it's going to add all the items that I asked for. Report comes up and I'll go find my project. All tab, or I can stay on recent project tab, double click on this green button, show me more. It takes me to the all projects list. So I'm going to open up my connectors. Look into your documents tab. I've got this one drawing. This is where they want me to put the connectors on. But hey, before I add any schematic symbols, one thing I must do is I must always toggle on my grid. And if I'm drawing the lines or wires or cables, I should have my ortho on. So I'm going to toggle on the grid, toggle on the ortho, snap is on, my grid is on. If your drawing is too small or too large, you can use Control E for electrical, fit it to screen. Now I can get to my components tab. The same situation I had in PLCs, they're telling me, VIP, we don't have any symbols for you in the library for your connectors. So that means neither this insert symbol button will work for me, that's searching symbols from library, nor this button would work for me that I can drag and drop and use them. They're referencing a quick access from the library, nor I can use insert symbol, but I need a connector component here first. So I saw some of you guys using this button to insert PLC. I know we've got these buttons here, but I'm going to recommend using component tree. Use your right click from here because it works the best. I'll talk about in this lesson what's the limitation of using these insert buttons other than insert symbol. So don't try adding a component using these buttons. We'll talk about the limitation of this method in this lesson. So right click on this. This is your components tree. You've got your locations. I'm adding a connector component to the first location. Right click, brand new. It's not a regular dump component. It's a smart, intelligent. In last lesson, we added PLC component. And then this is the same way you add a terminal strip component. This is the same way you add connector component. So I'm going to click on connector, brand new connector. It's asking me VIP. The root value for this class is going to be X. Fine. Then it tells me you have to don't just blindly click on the bottom and say, okay, okay, okay. You got to read on the top what tabs do you have. It's asking me VIP. Your connector mark's going to be X1, but which company's manufacturer part are you going to purchase? What do you want to work with? I'll say, let's go search, remove my filters, and filters you can pick. You can see it's already showing me a class, a connectors class. The type is the base. Company's name that I want is FCI. Somehow it remembers the last time I used the connectors, it remembers those filters. If it gives you no result at all, you must click remove filters before you use new filters. Now it's telling me VIP. From FCI company, we've got two different connectors for you. If you read the description here, one of them is bringing in male pins for me. Second one is bringing in female sockets for me. So one of them is a male pin connector. Second one is female sockets or female pin connector. So you can see the connector part numbers listed on the reference column. If I click on the circuit column, you can see 25 pins. It's bringing in 25 pins for me. So when I click on one, hey, this part, if I buy the male pin connector, the type of circuit it's bringing in auxiliary male pin, male pin, male pin, male pin. If I click on the second one, this is bringing in, it's a female sockets part. It's bringing in female pin, female pin, female pin. Where is that coming from? Remember, right click, you can check properties right here. It's coming from your circuits tab. What you had defined here, do you want a male or female? So it's coming from the manufacturer catalog. So I need the part with the male pins. I'm going to add it to my shopping basket in the middle. Double click on it, add it, and I'll click select or OK. I've got my part. Everything is blue in color here because no symbol is added yet. All of them are spare. I just bought a part. No symbols are shown in the drawing. So the plus sign here means it's pending a confirmation. I haven't clicked OK and completed this step. If I click OK, my connector is now listed here. I can go right click properties. If Victor tells me VIP, show me which company's connector are you using. So I'll go right click properties. I'll say, let's check it out. Hey, the squares are now solid blue. I don't see a plus sign anymore because I've finished that confirmation step. Everything's blue. No symbol is added yet, right? So now I can go activate my drawing, right click on this. Then I'm going to say, Tom's had saved a bunch of symbols for me in my library for connectors. I can use the symbols from the library. But if Tom did not save anything for me, then I'm going to say, that's okay, Tom. I can create a brand new connector symbol on the go, dynamic connector symbol on the go. So I'm going to click on this button here, right click, insert connector, just like we inserted PLC, same thing. Then it's telling me VIP, you've got many styles. So you can either using this button, I can find a symbol from the library. It still allows me to find a symbol from here from the library, or I can say, please give me a default configuration, maybe a D-shaped connector symbol, female D. So I'm creating a connector symbol here. So I can go right click, right click, right click, right click, flip orientation. If Tom's telling me, VIP, I only want to see 5 pins, auxiliary male pins, 5 of them, then I'm going to uncheck everything else that I do not want to see. I can grab number third pin. I can use my arrow keys, move it to the top. So I can rearrange the pins using the arrows. I moved number 3 to the top. I can check, uncheck, what do I want to see? I can uncheck something that I do not want. The shape is the D-shaped. The text, height, style, properties, they would all be coming from this configuration from the back end. If I want to flip orientation, I can use these radio buttons, click, check the preview, or right click, right click, right click, right click. But that right click did not work in PLC. This right click only works if you see this section on the symbol insertion. So I have this, but the book is telling me, VIP, don't use a customized symbol. We gave you a symbol in the library, use that one. So then I'm going to say, hey, I'm not creating a custom symbol. Let me use the symbol from the library, please. Click on other symbol. I'll remove my filters, type in the symbol name they gave me, which is page number 271, step number 7. So I'm going to type in the symbol name. So symbol is a dump drawing file. It doesn't have a reference number, part number. It's a file. So it's the name of symbol. So it's these three symbols, but I want to use this one. I can check in the list mode and see the long name of it. And I can see the picture mode, thumbnail mode. I'll double click on it, 16 pin symbol. So now you can see if I'm showing that 16 pin symbol. And one problem that I see is the symbol kind of appears pretty small. So something went wrong with that symbol. I'm going to cancel this step and start again and see what happened. Maybe I was in middle of using a configuration that it did not update properly. I can try again. I can use this button or this button, both of them, to find a symbol. Insert connector, search symbol. Now the symbol looks better. So I can go right click, right click, right click, right click, referring to the book on the next couple pages, page 275. I want to put a symbol in this orientation here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this orientation with right click. And before I drop that symbol, I have to make sure my grid is on. So I'm using the grid as a reference. So do not just blindly drop it like this. I want you to make sure you're using the grid reference points for a reference because you're going to draw the wires later on. So I'm feeling that snap when I try to snap that grid point. So before I drop it here, it's asking me, VIP, you've got total of 25 pins coming from the manufacturer that you're using. So you could expand this window. You can check how many pins do you want to show. So can anyone tell me why is it giving me 16 pin symbol? Because that's the predefined symbol I'm using from the library. Whoever saved it in the library defined 16 pins. So it's only using the first 16 pins from the manufacturer that I'm using for my connector X1. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this symbol and then check your question in the chat. Give me 1 second. Once I drop it here by click, all the properties, the terminal numbers are coming from the manufacturer. If I want to show a second connector, I can continue to draw the second symbol, but anything that I had shown has gone green. Anything that's not shown yet is blue, it's spare. So I'm going to hit escape, finish the command. So I added 16 pins symbol for my connector X1. If I go check properties from here, component properties by double click, the terminal numbers 1 to 16 are grabbed from this manufacturer catalog, FCI company's connector component. So if you click on anything, you can see the preview here in your component properties window. Anything that's blue, the pins that are not used, they're spare. I can use it in future. So any questions? Spike's asking me, if you have pins in a connector but they're not connected, would you recommend removing them from the symbol, or is there a way to mark them as no connection? Can this cause issues? Yes. So in the DRC, we'll learn that in lesson 16 in about 30 minutes. So design rule check is used to evaluate your design. There are going to be many things that it's going to evaluate, but that won't give you pop-up windows that error occurred, error occurred. So this design rule check is not like SolidWorks mechanical. For example, in mechanical, if you have so many made errors in assemblies, it will keep giving you pop-up windows, stop, fix the problem. But here, it doesn't complain. So if you see anything in design rule check, that's not a big deal. You can ignore it. So you would see there are many things that we would ignore. Some silly things. It would say, VIP, you added a terminal strip, extra terminal strip, but you're not showing any symbol. Maybe I want it for future as a spare one. Then I'll say, please don't bother, notifying me of this terminal strip. I know it's there. So I'm going to ignore it that I know it's there. So there are so many things that we would have to ignore, Spike. Design rule check is going to evaluate for you, but you have to think that is it really a problem or is that okay? We can ignore that. So if I'm showing, for example, in the PLC, we showed those spare pins that we wanted to show that I did not connect any wires on. You can type in the description as spare that Alex Alex, Tom, Victor, or Spike's gonna use it in future. So your shop guy would know, okay, Ted had shown 10 symbols, uh, 10 pins for the PLC, but he's only using 6 inputs, 4 of them are spare. So you can add description as spare for them. Or you can get to the manufacturer. If it's coming from manufacturer, you can change the terminal mark to spare, spare, spare if that's what you want. Spike, does that answer the question for you? Does that make sense? Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So, any more questions with using this method of showing a symbol that's a predefined symbol coming from the library? But hey, now the question for you is, if I double click on this symbol, why did everything go green automatically? Why didn't I have to struggle dragging and dropping the red one? Why didn't it give me the red circuits? So let's say if I open up this symbol manually for you, the symbol they gave us, if I open it, the symbol, and you can see this symbol had the circuit types as auxiliary male pins. So I picked up a male connector component. I used a symbol with the circuit type auxiliary male pin. It perfectly snapped the circuits. If I would change this to auxiliary female pin knowingly to trick you, so see, if I change it to female pins and save my symbol and close the symbol, now if I delete the symbol and add it again, right click, insert symbol or insert connector, use that same last used symbol. If I drop it here, this time when I drop it, it's telling me VIP. Do you want to do a force association? I'll say, yes, do that for me. It looks like this is a new enhancement of 2024, but when I double click and check my circuits now, it still gave me a pop-up window that VIP, you had a female pins coming from your symbol. So see, it shows me a new tag now, a symbol insertion. So my symbol had female pins defined when I open up that description of the symbol, but I knowingly used it for a male connector. So the part that we bought in the properties, it's a part number with the male connector pins, right? The properties coming from manufacturer were the male pins. So it gave me a pop-up window that's a 2024 enhancement. If I would be using 2023, if I would click on this, I would see everything blue, then I would see so many red ones on the bottom. It would say VIP, you have auxiliary female coming from your symbol. You're trying to link it with auxiliary male pins coming from the manufacturer. So give me a thumbs up on your name, set a mood for me. If this makes sense to you, what am I trying to explain? That it's comparing your circuits from manufacturer part and comparing your circuits coming from the symbol, from your connection points. Alex, Victor, Vadim, does that make sense to you? Yeah, awesome. So see, I figured out there's a new enhancement in 24. So it still kind of fixed a problem for me. When there was a problem, it gave me a pop-up window, right? So see, once again, read that message, right click, insert connector, insert a symbol. When I try to drop it, it's telling me, Vip, what are you doing? Circuits coming from your symbol are different from what are coming from the real life part. Do you want to cancel the insertion, fix your symbol first, or find a right part first, or do you still want to continue? So in older versions, it would not give me a pop-up window. It would just drop a symbol, and when I would double click on it, I'll see many red circuits. Then I have to fix the problem. So I'm going to cancel this insertion now. I'll open that symbol once. I don't want to waste time finding the symbol from the library. I can insert and open it right from here. So cancel this, right click, insert symbol, drop it here, force association. So I'm going to open that symbol, fix that problem, the change that I made. I want this as a male pin symbol, not the female pins. So male pin connector, save my changes, close the symbol. Next time I would use it, it would have the male pins, not the female sockets. So I'll delete that symbol, get to my connector again, right click, insert symbol or connector. Connector allows me to insert symbol again. I'm using a predefined symbol. I'll drop it here and I'll hit escape, finish the command. So I chose to add first 16 pins and I had total of 25 coming from that manufacturer part, this part number that we used from FCI company. So now let's do a couple more examples. I hope this makes sense to you. So Spike's asking, can the pins themselves have part numbers assigned and be included in the BOMs? So what you see in the bill of material is the actual component. You would not see the pins, but you would notice when you double click on it, you know all the pins that you see here are definitely coming from the reference number. So you cannot show the pins in the BOM. You can only show what's listed in your components tree, an actual component with the component mark, right? And it will list in your BOM only if the manufacturer part number is defined to it. If I get to this X1, go to the properties and delete this part, it won't be shown at all in your BOM, right? So I cannot show, it doesn't make sense. Think about it. If I'm buying a cup, right? And there's a tea in cup, I cannot show the tea as my BOM item, right? So why would you want the property of it? The actual thing's going to show in your BOM, not the properties of it, not the pins of it, not the subcomponents for it. Spike, does that make sense? So you cannot show the
Sort
pins
of.
in the BOM.
Just as a follow up to that, I mean, some
Yes.
connectors you obviously
Mm-hmm.
buy the pins separately because they need to be
Mm-hmm.
crimped onto the wire, then
Yes.
inserted into the connector. So how
Okay.
would you handle that if the
Good question.
pins are
I'll
actually a
show you another
separate part?
example. Okay. All right, so I'm going to use a different configuration for that. So if you do not want this D-shaped connector or this rectangular connector, you can just show the pins if you only want to show the pins. And let's see how would that show up in your BOM. But in your bill of material, it's still going to show an actual component that you're buying, right? But the pins won't show in the BOM. So this was a method I used an existing symbol from the library. Let's add a second connector now. Right click, brand new connector. Last time, this is my X2 connector. Get to the manufacturer part. What connector are you purchasing? Search it from your library. Last time we used a male pins connector. This time I'm going to use the female sockets one. Click on it, double click on it, and add it in the shopping cart in the middle. Hit OK or select. I've got all the auxiliary female pins. I'll click OK. Now I can get to this and I can drop another symbol here. Right click, insert connector. So this time I'm going to use not a predefined symbol, use a configuration called female D connector. So I'm going to show you how you can create these configurations from scratch. So see, this time instead of showing a rectangular shape, it's showing me a D shape. Why? I've got a setting toggled on here that please give me a rounded corner on the corners of it. But let's see what our properties we have in this configuration. So I'm going to cancel this step. We can add it after. Let's fix our configuration first. So there are different configurations we'll work with. So project tab, configurations, connectors. So they're asking me, Vip, don't create a duplicate copy of any existing one, create a brand new one. So I'm going to click on this new button, start a brand new configuration. So this is where I would pick here, Spike, that do I want to show one pin at a time? Or do you want to show a dynamic shape with a D shape or a rectangular shape? So this is the type of configuration we'll use for your example, Spike. Okay, so we are going to add one pin at a time with no shapes. But I want to show you the dynamic symbol shape first. Example, we'll do that. So I'll click on dynamic symbol. I'll give it a good name. I'll call this Vadim's D-shaped connector style. And I'll give it a good description. I'll copy paste the name and description because when I use it, it's going to show me description, not the name. That's a description here. So when I get to the shape of it, it's telling me the width of it. So could you all refer to the book, flip onto page number, the first page of this lesson, page 268, please. Step number 1, 2, and 3. So I want to change the width of it. I told you any value you click on, the dimension changes into this red color, then you know what you're modifying. What are you changing? So check the preview out. So I'm going to change this value to 0.35, rounded corner radius to 0.175. And then, hey, the distance to first point from the top for the first pin is 0.25. And the next one is a special property that we would pay attention to, space between two pins. So can anyone tell me what units are we working in? If the space between two pins is 0.25 inches, oops, it's imperial units, right? The standard is imperial. Yes. So Tom, can you tell me if you're working in metric configuration? Why did it give me all the properties in imperial? Why not metric? Who's going to answer that? Why all the properties are in imperial in this situation when I started a brand new configuration? Where is it picking the units from? From the project units, right? So it's picking the units from your configurations. So configurations, you can see the units are coming from the unit system. It's imperial. You can make sure all the other units are also in imperial inches. So that's where it's picking it from. If I would change my project's units to metric, all the values you would see would be metric values. Thank you, Tom. So now the next one is, this is a new enhancement in 2022, I believe. Do you want to show the pins on the right of the symbol, on the left of the symbol, or do you want to start with left, then move to the right? Or do you want to, so you're defining the width, height, all those properties on the basis of that. You can show the pins on the right or the left, or you can definitely flip orientation when you're dropping the symbol, right? So I'm not worried about these com width. I need a simple D-shaped symbol. I don't care about these comms. So I'm going to hit 0 and 0. So I'm using a simple D-shaped symbol. So the next tab here is the attributes tab. What do you want to see on the top of the symbol? Do you want to see the tag as X1? This is my first connector. Do you want to see the company's name? Which company's connector are you using? Do you want to see the part number, reference number? Me some attribute symbols that I'm going to use. So right on the information on the top, I'm going to say, let's go find. Right on the top, I want to use some um, tag. I want to show the component mark X1. So I would use the name of the symbol given on page 268, step number 4. So I'll remove my filters first. I'll type in the name EW underscore NC underscore connector. So Victor, can you tell me, are all these symbols empty symbols or do they have something in them? Do they appear empty to you? Yes, but they're not. Remember I taught you in last lesson, when you see symbols like this, they have some tags, some attributes saved within them. These are called attribute symbols. They only have text saved within them. They don't have any shapes like lines, any circles, or any rectangles. They've only got the text attributes. They do appear empty, but they're not. These are attribute symbols, which we use for configurations. So I'm going to check out my list mode, and the symbol I want is this top plus one. Double click, use this. It's going to show a component tag on the top. What do you want to see on the bottom? Search. And I need a similar symbol, remove filters. And I'll type in here EW underscore NC underscore bottom. So once I see a few different results, when I start typing in the name, I'll check the thumbnail mode or list mode to read a full name and full description in the list mode. So I'm going to go double click, add a description of that manufacturer on the bottom of it. If you're telling me, VIP, just the tag is not enough, I want to show it's a FCI company's connector, I can click on edit, open that symbol, the tag symbol in the background, and later on I can add a manufacturer company's attribute to that symbol that I had opened up by clicking on this pencil sign, right? So right on this, on the top, you can control the XY coordinates. When I click on one item, you can see the dimension goes into the red color. You know what property you're changing. So the next part here for my connection points, I'm knowingly going to leave this empty because I want to teach you a lesson that if you do not define a connection point property, it's not going to pull up your terminal number marks from your manufacturer part. Your terminals would be empty. All right. So the last part is the circuits tab here. This is where you need to define that if you're purchasing a component with the female pins, you would see this pin. So the first pin that you see in the preview, you have to look at this insertion point. The orientation looks bad. So they're saying VIP. In our case, we're going to purchase a couple different connectors, one with auxiliary female pin, and the pin is showing this kind of pin. If you all look on page number 266 on the book, so Vadim, can you check the bottom section of the book on page 266? The circular pins are your IEC standard, but the sharp V-shaped kind of pins are your NC standard. So we need NC standard pins. We don't need those circular pins. So what I'm going to do is I'll say I'm not happy with what the pin they're using for the female pin. I would click on this replace button. I'm going to say, please show me a V-shaped pin for the female pins. I'll remove my filters. I'll find the pin name they had given me on page 269. So I'll type the name PIN underscore F underscore 03. So I want to use this V-shaped pin, not the circular pin for the female. I'm using my NC standard symbols, not the IEC standard, metric standard, or European standard. We want to use the North American standard pins. So I'll double click on this. The first preview you see now has changed for us, but the orientation of this is bad. Look, there is an orientation column. So I don't want to see the pin like this. So it should be showing inside of that. So I'm going to change that orientation to 270. Click outside, check the preview. It looks better now. So you can see if I purchase a component that's going to have a circuit called auxiliary female pin on my D-shaped connector, it's going to show this pin. If I purchase a male pin connector component, then it's going to show this pin. If I purchase a component with the circuit power female pin, then it's going to show the same pin again. If I purchase a connector component with the terminals, then you, in your exercise, they said they're asking you find a part number so and so. The circuit type is terminal. And they're asking you in exercise, please go to the terminal type in your configuration and attach a symbol. If you won't do this step, you would get an empty D-shaped symbol with no pins. It won't show any pins for you because the manufacturer part would have the circuit type as terminal, but there is no symbol linked here. So give me a thumbs up if it makes sense that it's going to compare your manufacturer part circuit with this configuration and it will put the right pin for you. Thank you, Spike. Thank you, Alex. Yes, Wilson. Pardon me, can you repeat that question? Oh, the scale tab, this tab. Okay, oh, the shape tab. Yes, yes, please. Okay, so if I click on this dimension, you can see this is pretty long. You're right, we made it 2 inches. That's huge. Thank you. That's what I was wondering, why the preview looks bad. I was supposed to come back and fix this. What value should I type, Wilson? 0.25. Thank you. Good catch. So proud of you. Thank you, Wilson. Now it looks better. So I have the name defined, Wadine's configuration style for connector. The shape looks great. Attributes look great. What do you want to show on the top and bottom? But hey, your circuits look fine. Maybe buy a female pin connector, it's going to show this pin. If I buy a connector with male pins, it's going to show this pin. So it's going to compare this property of description of circuit with what I'm purchasing. What component are we going to buy? In your exercise, they asked you to add a connector with circuit type terminal. If I would use this configuration for terminal, it's going to give me a dump D shape with no pins added on them. It's going to be a simple rectangular shape because no symbol is linked to terminal, right? So the last part is we can fix this right now. If I don't define a attribute symbol here, I won't see any pins pulled out from my manufacturer part data. I can leave this empty for now. We can come back and fix this. That's fine. I'll click apply and close. So where did the Wadine's configuration go? Right here. Click on arrow, make it green. Now in the next example, along with this tag, I also wanted to show the manufacturer company's name. So I can go click on insert attribute. I'll say, please also show the manufacturer company's name. And I can put it on the top or bottom. We can rearrange it after if we are not happy with the result. So I'll save my work, right? I'll close the symbol. Now my configuration would be using that. So in my second connector, properties, I've got a female pin connector. So if I go right click, insert a new connector symbol using this green configuration, Vadim's configuration. So look at that D-shaped symbol. Maybe I want to show 16 pins. So you can use this button to limit yourself to 16. So if you click on this activated type 16 and click on it, this button used to work great before. Sometimes it doesn't work. What this means is if I'm picking random pins 1, 3, 5, 7, 11, it would stop me from picking anything more than 16, right? So Tom, I'll come back to your question. Give me 1 second. So I'm going to go ahead and um, use my multiple pins from here, 16 pins. Any 16, I can skip number 10 in between and I can grab total 17. Unfortunately, the holding shift and multi-select doesn't work in connectors. So I picked 16 pins. I'm using Vadim's configuration style. And you can see if I drop it here, I can drop it here in this orientation. That's what the book wants. And the pins are coming from your configuration. I'll click right here. If I'm not happy with orientation, I can go right click, right click, right click, right click. If I don't want the fillet added, I can say, please do not show me the rounded corner radius. Show me a rectangular symbol. So if I check on show the radius, I have this. Pick a default configuration if you made a mess. Now I can drop it here if that's what I want. So once I click and drop, and now I can hit escape. If I want, I can, all the pins that I used have gone green. Anything that spare is blue. Hit escape, finish the command. FCI company's name, component mark. The orientation doesn't look great. I mean, the justification is not right. So which is why they appear like this. I can open that configuration, open the symbol, fix the justification and update the symbol. We'll do that. And hey, look, the pins are missing. The terminals are missing. It does show the part number on the bottom. So let's go back to the configuration, fix it. So project tab, configurations, connectors. Get to the Vadim's configuration, double click. Connection point tab, click on search. What attributes gonna pull up your pin information? So I'll remove my filters. I know it's something called EW underscore NC. So Tom, you said, why are you interchanging IC male but NC female? Can you explain what do you mean by that?
On the first connector, you had listed
Mm-hmm.
the connector symbols,
Mm-hmm.
and we changed to the ANSI for the female, and then you
Yes.
maintained the male for the IEC side. I was just curious. I mean, it doesn't need to change. I just had noticed that and questioned.
Okay, so I'm gonna get back to that window, then you can please point me there. Let me just attach a pin tag
Yeah,
so it can pull all the pins for us first, then I'll come to your question.
no need. Just
So,
continue.
okay, thank you. Thank you, Tom. So I'm trying to find a beautiful pin attribute that's gonna show me my um, so if I cannot find that attribute, what I'm looking for, so I'm gonna go ahead and use, let's see the list mode here. So connector pins. So I can check, you can see the both attributes that we are using here are gonna be used. The description says PLC, title says connector. So don't worry about it. This is just the name and description of it. So I wanna show the pin details. You have the NC units and IC units. I'm working in NC units right now, so I'm going to use this pin attribute with NC units. I'll double click on it. So I'm using that. Now, if I click apply and OK, I fixed a problem in my configuration. I can update the symbol by right click, symbol, update symbol. It's going to say, VIP, this symbol doesn't exist in your library. You created a custom symbol on the go. But if you want, you can redraw it, refresh it, sync your properties with configuration. So I'll click redraw. Hey, my pins showed up. Why this number showed up? If you double click on it, check the part that you bought. It's bringing in the pins 1, 2, 9 we used. We skipped the 10. Then we used some other pins. So you can see that number 10 would be missing. It used number 11. So any questions with creating, using a predefined symbol from the library, or creating a custom symbol on the go using a configuration, please? And adding this specific pin, why not the circular pin? Why? Because it's comparing the part that you bought, it's comparing the circuit description coming from the manufacturer part, and it's comparing that what do you want to use. So if manufacturer part is using the female pins, then from your connector configuration, it's using that circuit type female pin and showing that symbol. If you bought a male part, then it's going to show this pin, right? So let's say if I buy a brand new connector here, X3, right click brand new, a new connector, and I'm using X3. This time I'm going to go search. Instead of using the female sockets, I'll use the male pins. Double click, click OK and OK. Now if I insert a new connector symbol using same Vadine's configuration, insert connector, Vadine's configuration, hey, look at the pins. So I'm going to drop it anywhere on the bottom. I just want, I'll uncheck everything. I only want 3 pins, for example. So I've limited it to 1. I'm going to say, let me select any 3. So 1, 2, 3. So now I can show something smaller on the bottom using same Vadim's configuration. Hit escape, finish the command. So I used Vadim's configuration for both the examples. In one example, it shows me these pins. In second one, it's showing me the other pins. Thumbs up if it makes sense. Why that happened? Why is it showing different pins using same configuration? Thank you, Spike. I know it made sense to you.
Yes.
Vadim. Yeah, Tom, thank you. Why? Because in the second case, I bought a part called female pin part with the female pin circuits. Then it went back to configuration and they said, okay, for female pin type, this is the pin we had selected. For the male pin type, in your configuration, this is the pin we had selected for the male pin. So please give me a thumbs up if it makes sense. Ryan, Ted, does it make sense to you? Okay, let me ping a private message to Ted. Oh, Ted's back. Thank you. Okay, so now the last part is the question that Spike was asking. Spike said, VIP, what if I only want to show the pins? How will it show up in my BOM? So if you do not want this dynamic symbol insertion, you're only showing the pins, a combination of some male pins and female sockets. How would that work? So I'm going to go add a brand new connector, right click brand new using this connector button here. Some of you started using these buttons yourself, which is cool. But let me talk about the drawback of using the button from here. The drawback is when I click on this insert connector button on schematic tab, first it's asking me, VIP, some of the connectors, all the pins are not used. Do you want to use the previous existing connectors or do you want to create a brand new one? So when I create a brand new one, if I'm picking that I'm using this male pin connector, double click, clicking OK, and then it's asking me, VIP, it's going to be X4. I said OK. Then right away it's asking me, go insert the pins. But if you tell me, VIP, you were not supposed to use that part number, use something else, then I'll say, oh man, I have to cancel the whole step, start all over again. So in this case, I finish one, then I start the next one. But in this case, all the steps are embedded together in one click. So when I finish one, automatically it starts the next step, next step, next step. If I make one mistake and hit escape, I've lost all the work now. So I don't like using this method. If you want, you can use this. But I like using this. Go to the location, add a brand new connector component. This time I want, let's say I'm looking for X4 fourth connector. Part number search, I can use the male pins part, double click, use that part number, click OK, or use any other parts that you have. Spike, you can pick other components. So the way you see the items in your BOM is the way it's saved in your manufacturer catalog in your library in manufacturer part manager. So if I'm using this part, I'm hitting OK. Okay, I like this part. Click OK, finish the command. X4 connector. This time, instead of using an existing symbol from the library using the or using Vadine's configuration, I'm going to use this configuration called one symbol per pin. So I'm only showing one pin at a time or more. So I can pick and choose that please show me first 10 pins. I don't want any other pins. So for male pins, I want to show 10. So I could have unchecked by clicking on this button all of them. I wasted time. So I have 10 pins now, and I'm going to go right click, right click, right click, right click, flip orientation. So if I want this orientation, I'm going to drop it here. So I'm adding 10 pins from here, but maybe I can skip number 8 and 9, pick 11 and 12. So I can skip. Maybe I want to move 12 before 10. Select your number 12, use your arrow keys, and you can move it up. So see, I can start moving it up the way I want. So you can move your pins up and down. I'll click here, snap the grid point and drop it here. So you've got your pins here. I'll hit escape, finish the command. So this is the way you would show it. But what you see of material list spike, if I get to my project tab, my bill of material report, in my BOM report, you can see since I used a same part number for 3 connectors, it's showing me quantity 3. 3 instances, I bought 3 of them, same items I bought thrice, right? But that's how it's going to show in your BOM. So what you see in your BOM is how you have saved that manufacturer into your library in your manufacturer part manager. It's not going to show your pins. But yes, if in your manufacturer part manager, Spike, if you have one connector component with 1 pin, so let's say if I'm showing 5 pins in my diagram, each pin is coming from different manufacturer. If you bought it separately, then in your connectors, in your manufacturer part, you would have a brand new connector only with 1 circuit. So if you're adding 1 circuit at a time, auxiliary male pin or female pin, and I'll call it Spikes connected test, give it a good name. Company is Spike Incorporation, right? So if I'm using the same name description, but I'm bringing only 1 pin, that's the way I bought it. And the terminal number is coming from here. So you can define your mocks here, click OK and OK. Next time when I'm adding that connector, so I will be adding a brand new connector and I'll go to my search, X5 connector, manufacturer search, remove filter. I'll find Spikes company connector. So if I have that company's name under the manufacturer name, or I gave it a good name, so let me search right here, double click. So it's only adding 1 pin for me. So if that is what you're working with, then you would see many of them in your bill of material list. So it's the way you have defined in your manufacturer part Spike.
So
So
am I correct in
yes.
thinking that you would then have to create a
Hmm.
manufacturer part for individual pins
Yes.
to get the pin count in your BOM, but then
Yes.
how
Hmm.
do you denote the back shell or the connector housing which would be
Hmm.
associated with those pins?
So if that's what you want, so if I would go to the same of this manufacture part properties, if I'm adding some accessories here, which is what we did in our last lesson, we'll also do that in next lesson 15. It's a very quick lesson, next one. So I would click on search, then that manufacturer would exist for you, and you would be finding that manufacturer part number if that's a mechanical accessory, if that's what you want. What you have saved in your manufacturer part catalog is what you could use, right? So in this case, I'm going to change the type that I need some accessories. For example, for a fuse, I can add a fuse holder. But if there's anything mechanical accessory you need, or what do you want, you would be adding it here. And both of those items would then show up in your BOM list for your connector component X1 or X4 or X5. Both of them would be showing up in your BOM. Just like we used auxiliary, base, and accessory, same way you would have multiple items for the same connector. Does that answer your question? Awesome. Thank you, Spike. So instead of adding one, then I would search another one, then another one, then many would show. Awesome. Thank you, Spike. Tom, do you want me to go to the window? Where is that window that you were asking a question about? Interchanging IC. Should I get to the connector configuration for your question? In Vadim's configuration? No? Okay, where should I go? What tab? The units, oh, I see the configuration units. So you see, in my case, somehow the dimension units were set to metric when my drawing unit system was imperial. So I made sure both of them are imperial inches if that's what I want. And my cable size standard is gauge. So it's up to you. Do you want to see your values in inches or foot or in metric? But the unit system of your drawings is controlled from this unit system. I hope that makes sense. So now a couple more things in this lesson. Let's say if you're telling me now, Vip, I want a combination of male pins and female pins, then I can go find this X5 component I used. I can get to properties, remove that spike spot, and I can delete that part and I can search FCI connector. The manufacturer company is FCI, and I'll say this time I want the female sockets part, hit OK and OK. If I'm adding right click insert connector, I'm using one symbol per pin. This time it shows me different pins and I can limit it to, I want 6 pins because 10 of them I added from here. So I can right click, flip orientation, and I can grab any 6 of them right here, and I can show a combination of male and female sockets, male pins and female sockets. So when you use this kind of configuration, it does not give you a whole number. They're saying VIP only used few pins. She's using one symbol per pin configuration. So you can see my marks show with a dot. If I add a second set of pins, for example, in this guy, if I delete one pin, the sixth one, if I add it again, right click, insert symbol or connector using one symbol per pin. If I add a last one alone, I can limit it to one. And if I'm adding it now, so you can see it still grabs a name that I'm not adding a new one. It's the same one from X5.1. Then I can say, why do I have to show the name twice? I can go right click, go to my attributes. I can uncheck that don't show X5.1 twice. It's the same pin from the same connector. So the last part here is I want to show you how to draw the wires now. So when I draw the wires, I can go to my schematic tab, draw a single wire, but I want the same wire 16 times. I'm changing the number to 16. Spacing between them is 0.25 because units are right click and check your units on the go imperial units. If I would have metric, spacing would be 5 millimeters. So I'm going to click here once. I can feel that snap, and then I'll go align in that perfect alignment. So one click, second click, and I'm trying to click here, create those 16 wires. The last part here is I want to show you how the array command works or a multiple copy command works. So let's say if I'm testing the pins of this connector, I'm using my test probe. I can go to my schematic tab, insert a symbol, a test probe symbol, other symbol, remove filters. The name of symbol is test probe. This one, see the picture preview, and if I'm dropping that symbol here now, that's my first test probe symbol. I'll click OK, create a brand new component TP1. So it gets into my component tree now, TP1. So if you're telling me, VIP, I want to show many test probes here for each of these connector pins. So don't waste time adding one at a time. You could get to your modify tab, use this command called array for multiple copies. So when I click on array, it's asking me, VIP, how many copies do you want? I'll say I have 16 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but one column. So my column is 1, rows are 16, spacing between my rows is 0.25, the distance, and it's going in the negative direction, in the negative quadrant downwards. So I'll pick minus 0.25. It's going downwards. If I put positive 2.25, it's going to create a duplicate copy of these TP1s up like this. So what do you want to copy? Which object? So click on this button and then click on this button and hit enter. So once I hit enter and click OK, so it does this for me. But unfortunately, there's a glitch in 2024. It works the third time. It doesn't work the first 2 times. Something's wrong. So if I delete them all, instead of selecting, I'll pre-select it this time. Select it first. Now I can go to modify an array. My properties are set. Click OK. It did not work. It works the third time. I don't know why they messed it up. Something simple as this. So you could play with your array command. Get back to array. 16 rows, 1 column. Spacing is this. Select object, this one. Hit enter. Click OK. It didn't work again. So I can pre-select it and try it again. It might work this time. So this is a known problem. Solidworks is aware of it. Hopefully they would fix it in the next service pack 2, which was released, but I'm still using service pack 1. You can check it on the help tab here. So maybe they fixed in SP2. I did not check that. So coming back to modify tab, pre-select this array command, and I'll click OK. Bad. So if it's not working, unfortunately, then you have to add it one by one. But you can see not only copied the symbols for you, but it also created components for me like this. So any questions with adding connectors now, please? So you can double click on any connector and see your manufacturer part properties. Anything that's shown in the symbols is green, blue is spare. You can show that in future. If Wilson tells me, VIP, you showed 16 pins. I want to show 20 pins. I cannot add 2 more pins to it. I have to delete and add it again, show 20 pins, right? But if I get back to the configuration, make color changes, property changes, I can update the symbol, right click symbol, update, and then it's going to say VIP. This is not saved in your library. You made changes in configuration, update your configuration changes on the symbol, redraw the symbol, right? So if Tom tells me, VIP, I love this symbol, I don't want to waste the time you wasted to insert these symbols. Next time I want to use it from my library, you can go right click, go to symbol, add it to your library. You can call it Tom's connector symbol. Put it in your Mercer's library, your custom library, save it for future. Next time you want to use this, you would go right click, insert symbol, not insert connector from configuration. So please quickly work on your exercise now on your labs. Look on page number 278. I'll give you 15 minutes. Last couple lessons are very, very quick, just like origin destination lesson. So page 278, exercise number 14. Even if you do the first example, I'm happy with that. Just do one example, please. I'll set up a timer for you. Thank you for watching. If you want to go to the washroom, you can quickly go and come back. So page number 278, exercise 14, please. I heard a beep, but I don't see a private message from any one of you. Could you ping it to me again, please? I don't see a message. Please unmute yourself and ask a question. I missed your message. I don't see this. Hmm. So anyone who wants to be a presenter, please, if you completed anything up to step 3, so please show me your lab so I can help you. If you've got a D-shaped connector with no pins, who wants to be a presenter? Jean, can I check your lab, please? Oh, Alex needs help. Okay, let's see Alex's lab. Alex's lab. Good. All right, Alex, if you've got your connector, first of all, you need to do is show me what connector do you have. So the pins that you're looking at, you need to go ahead and change your select configuration drop-down menu. So you should be using the green one, connector lab, the one that you just created with the D shape. Check your preview now, looks great, but you want 6 terminals. So check, 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 grab all the 6 terminals from the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your preview looks amazing. So you have to put it the way it looks in the picture in the book. Good job. Close to it. Awesome. Thank you. So this is your first connector. So good job with your configuration work. Let's do the second example now. So could you get to your components list in your component tree for me? You've got expand your locations. So now they're saying insert the pins for J2 component. So we don't have any. So this is a brand new connector that you created. So they want you to create a brand new connector. So right click on location L1, location, click on new button, add a new connector, and the part number, this is X2 connector, that's fine. Go to the manual search, remove your filters, and type in DBPE space 104. Yep, double click and use this. Look at the right hand side, read the terminal column, terminal, right? Description is terminal, terminal, terminal. The description column, yes, click select and OK, so it doesn't have male pins or female pins. The type is terminal. Click OK, finish the command. Now you've got your connector X2 on the very left in the list. Let's right click on this and we will insert the symbol. So use your insert connector button. We would use a configuration. They're saying insert 1 pin at a time. Change your configuration. We don't need a D-shaped symbol, and change it to 1 symbol per pin, the second last one. Good. So you've got 6 pins selected. Look at the flip your orientation, flip your book onto the last page of the exercise. Your pins should be in that orientation. So right click, flip couple times. Good. One more. This looks better. So on the very right of this sheet, you should see the wires that are not connected. I want you to drop it there, zoom on it. So click on the first one on the top. Good job. Thank you. So if you see the last picture on page number 280, step 5, the big symbols that you see on the very bottom of your drawing here, Alex, these are called connection label symbols. And if you see, there is a table with it. So the table is supposed to show all the details of the pins. It's a connector table. It's telling where the pin 1 is going, pin 2 is going, pin 3 is going from the connector. So how do you think the table symbol can be linked to the second terminals that you dropped? So right click on this table symbol, link it with your component X2. How would you change the component? First button, symbol properties. It's a property of a symbol. Link it with X2 component, that this table is for X2 connector. On the right hand side in the list, select X2, click OK. So you're linking the table to this connector. Your table populated the data. If you zoom on it, it's telling you about every pin, and the wire length is empty right now because we are waiting for the 3D routing for the length to be updated. So it tells you the pin number and destination component. Pin number 1, destination is component D1. So right on the top of the page, there is another table, a connection label symbol. Can you link that to the first connector, please? Right click, symbol properties. You're linking it with J1. Very good. Hit OK. The table populates for you all the pin data. Which pin from J1 is going where? What destination component? So then you would say, Vip, how did you add this connection label symbol? So Right on your schematic tab, there's a connection label button that's highlighted. So that's how we can insert this. Or you can also use insert symbol, change your symbol type to connection label and find these symbols. Then you would say that VIP, where are connection labels stored in the library? So can you get to the library tab for me, please? So they're all stored under your first button, symbols manager. So connection label symbols, remove your filters, change your symbol type, fifth filter, symbol type, pick connection label. It should be the red color icon, scroll down right there. So there are so many connection label symbols that are stored for you. And you can download new ones from your content portal account. Thank you, Alex. You did great. You're a very good listener. Okay. All right, so please stop clicking. I can help you with this later on after we finish our class. I have to show you lesson 15 now. Then lesson 16 is evaluating our mistakes, which is pretty quick. And then last lesson, so we would be leaving at around 4:30. Last lesson would be the reports lesson. You would be clicking with me. It's just a couple clicks generating a report. Okay, so if you need help, then you have to wait until the end of the class. I can check your labs. So let's move on to lesson 15, cabinet layouts lesson. It's a very easy lesson. So we will learn about working with mechanical parts. So Spike, save your work. We'll check it after together. Mhm. Thank you. I'm seeing messages. I'm hearing the beeps, but I'm not seeing any messages. Someone's trying to ping me a private message, but I cannot see it. When I try to open a chat, I can only see the public chat. Now it somehow I have to refresh my class to see my private chat. It's missing. So I'm so sorry if you're pinging me a private chat. Thank you. All right. So check out your book on page 282. Can you see a picture, please? We will add a last brand new type of drawing called cabinet layout drawings. These drawings are used to show your mechanical parts. In this case, we are showing a cabinet, we are showing our ducts and DIN rails, the back plate, the door, and the electrical components clamped on the door and the back plate. So I'm going to go ahead and open this project number 15 on archive, project, open it up. Yep. So before I do anything, before I create cabinet layout drawings, I have to first create locations. So you would see when your mechanical engineer is ready. So once I create a 2D project, let's say Tom's my mechanical engineer, my 3D designer, I'll say, hey, Tom, I've already created a location for you on my project tab. And why is that important to a 3D engineer? Because when 3D designer goes to the process tab and they would create a 3D assembly, just like we are creating 2D cabinet layout. So these 2D cabinet layout in this lesson that we are generating, and why do we need this? 2D cabinet layout drawings. So we are generating them on the basis of location, right? So in the same way, when mechanical designer creates a 3D assemblies, let's say if I bought a table from IKEA and I've got one tabletop and then I've got to frame the legs. So I'm creating two different locations for the table. One location is going to be a tabletop, second location is going to be the frame. So I'm going to be creating two small 3D assemblies, one with tabletop, one with the frame. Then I'll put them together and I'll build my top level project level assembly, right? In the same way, in the cabinet layout drawings, and the 3D assemblies, they use location as a base, as a reference. So before we create cabinet layouts, we have to get to the project tab, get to the locations, and generate locations. So the first location I want is the electrical cabinet or enclosure. So right click properties, let's give it a good description. Electrical cabinet or enclosure, whatever you want to call it. Click OK. Within my cabinet, I've got two children locations. So I'll select it. I'll click create several new two child locations. If I pick the name of lesson and click new, it's going to give me a solid location. If you pick existing location, click new, you will get a child location. So first child location, I'll call it a backplate. The second child location in the cabinet, I'll call it the door of cabinet, like this. Description door. So then I need a second location, a brand new location. I'll call it, I can call it motor room, but I think I'm okay for now. This is what I need. I'll close this. Now, if you look into your components tree, everything seems to be in a cabinet location. If Alex tells me, Vip, your push button is supposed to be in the door, I can do this. I can manually drag and drop that push button S1 into the door location like this. So if I'm asking Tom, hey, Tom, jump to the door, to the push button on the drawing, Tom's going to say, Vip, push buttons on the door, expand the push button, double click, it's right here. So it's way faster for you to control items when your component tree is properly organized in the locations. So now the book is asking me, Vip, all the components on this page, the title block is telling us everything is on the cabinet. But now Spike's telling me, Vip, I want to show all the components on this page on the backplate location. Can you change the tag in the title block? To do that, you have to get to the drawing, right click, change a location of the drawing. Whole drawing should, all the components are on the backplate. So I'm going to select backplate. It's asking me, Vip, do you only want to change the drawing location, the tag itself, or do you also want to move the components to backplate? I'll say move everything to the backplate. So when I'll say change component, not only change the tag here, all the components in component tree other than the push button that I manually moved has moved to the backplate location that I created. So give me a thumbs up if it makes sense that anyone who's looking at my drawing would think all the items are in the backplate now. How did I do this? I right clicked on the drawing. This is the same spot you change a location from, same spot you open the title block from. Good point. Thank you for thumbs up here. So now let's say Casey tells me, Vip, I'm tired of looking all around in your drawing. You did not show me where are the push buttons, which location. So what I could do is, let's say if these are my two push buttons, S1 and S2, I want to show the door location diagram here. I can get to schematic tab. There's a button here called create a location outline. When I click on it, I can draw a rectangle around it, and I can say both these components are in the door. So when I select my door location, it says, Vip, do you want to see these components move to the door? I'll say yes. Move both these push buttons to door. If you check your component tree, S1 was already there. S2 is now moved to the door, and I see a tag here. So Tom, Victor, Alice can quickly see, okay, these two components are on the door. Everything else seems to be on the back plate, right? So I can move these alarms and lights to the door location, schematic tab, draw location outline, draw the rectangle, and which location, move the lights to the door, hit OK, change components to the door. Now you can see my door has the push buttons and it's got that alarms and lights, and it shows the door tag here. If Ryan tells me, Vip, I'm not happy the way it shows that crazy name L1, L2, I just want to see the description of the location door. It's coming from a formula, lesson number 1, project configuration text tab. There is a formula for location outline formula on the very right, just like we changed the cable formulas. So this is where that's coming from. So any questions with these locations, please? If I want, I can also create a brand new location on the go using that location outline button. Schematic tab, draw location outline, click, draw a rectangle. Then it says, Vip, you don't have a motor room location. I can create a new one on the go. New location, call it motor room. Click OK, grab motor room, hit OK, change component, Not only it shows in the graphics, but also in my component tree, my motor has now moved to motor room. I can quickly go double click, snap it, and find the drawing. Even when my drawing is closed, I can double click, it opens the drawing for me. Oh, you lost me? Hello? Oh, sorry, Tom, give me 1 second. Vadim, can you hear me?
You're back.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
As soon as
Oh,
you created the was just after you
location,
created the motor
motor
room,
room.
you disappeared for a
I
moment. Seconds.
Oh, okay.
10, 20 seconds.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. I am glad you can hear me now. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan. Saw your message. Good. So now you know how to work with location, organize your tree, keep it organized. Don't have couple hundred components spread it around and you're going crazy looking through the list, finding a fuse, finding a component, finding a terminal. So please organize your work properly. If you organize it, and now if you get to your process tab, this is where we will create a cabinet layout drawing. So I'm going to click on cabinet layout button here. So now it says VIP. You've got a chance. You have many locations. Do you want to create a cabinet layout for the door, for the backplate? I'll say no. I want a cabinet layout for the whole enclosure. I'm not going to waste time creating two different cabinet layouts. So I'm going to uncheck everything. I'm creating only one cabinet layout drawing for my whole cabinet. So if my backplate and door are children of it, of that location, any components from the door and backplate, I can show them on the electrical cabinet enclosure drawing. So I'm going to check one drawing on. I can click on three dots here, change the destination folder. I can create a new folder called cabinet layout drawings. Almost done here. Stay with me. So when I create that folder, hit OK and click OK, it generated that drawing for me in the Documents tab. Expand the folder, double click, and open up the drawing. So now all you gotta do is the same way we had electrical tree here, in the same way, we've got a cabinet layout tree. So it's telling me VIP, expand your backplate, expand the door. So in your previous tree, it allowed me to insert 2D symbols, schematic symbols, line diagram symbols. On this tree, it allows me to add 2D footprint symbols. So now you can see my whole electrical component tree got listed here. So these symbols are a bit different than what we used earlier. These are called 2D footprint symbols. Where are they stored? In your library 2D footprint manager. So when I click here, you can see different kind of 2D footprint symbols. If they exist for you, they would be here. If you need more, you can download them from electrical content portal account. Okay, so all I want to do is right click insert, right click insert. But before I insert these electrical parts, I want to add some mechanical parts. I want these mechanical parts to show up in my BOM. So, if we had a fuse, let's say if I get to this fuse, get to the properties of the fuse, I could have added a base part and then I could have added an accessories and auxiliary part here. I'm going to add a fuse holder search. I'm going to search something as remove my filters, same class, fuses class, and I'm searching any accessories from the fuse class so I can show you how accessories will be shown. So I'll change my type to accessories, mechanical parts. So if let's say, for example, I've got a fuse holder or something, I'm adding it. This is mechanical part, not interfering with my, I'm supposed to add something that doesn't have any circuit. So if I added a wrong one, I can delete it, grab something else with zero circuits, add it, click OK and OK. Now you can see it lets me add two 2D footprint symbols, right? So I can add an actual, the fuse holder, a mounting, and then I can add an actual fuse on top of it. So I can add mechanical and electrical part both. But I could also go to one of my locations, the top location. I can get to the properties of this. I can say, hey, let's not waste time going to every part one by one, adding mechanical accessories for them one by one there. Let's add it to the top level location. I can go to manufacturer tab, search, and I can add all the mechanical accessories here. For example, for a cabinet, I'm going to type in a part number here on page 285, step number 8. So I'll type in NSYCRN 44200T. They gave me a cabinet part number. It's a mechanical part, so circuits are 0. I'll click, double click, add it to my shopping cart. But I'm not going to cancel this command or finish the command. I'll add my other mechanical accessories right away. So now I need a duct and a rail. So the duct part number is 034480. So I want this, this is actually a rail part number. Circuit is 0, it's a mechanical part. How many rails do I want? I need 4 rails, change number to 4, add 4. Now I need a duct. So duct part number is 036612. I'll search that. If no result shows up for you, then you gotta go ahead and say remove filters, and then you have to type it again, 036612. And let's say I need 3 ducts. I'll add 3 ducts. And once I've added my mechanical parts, I don't care about circuits this time. It's mechanical parts, no circuits. Click OK and OK. You've got your mechanical parts here. Now I can go right click insert. So I'm inserting a cabinet now. When I'm inserting a cabinet looks pretty small. So when you open up this cabinet layout drawing, right on the top, new tab comes up for you, cabinet layout tab. So all the things I did on right click, inserting in the properties, a cabinet, ducts, and rails, you could have used these buttons called add cabinet, add rail, add duct. But we are adding them in the location, so I added them here, or you could use this button or insert terminal strip. But any electrical parts would automatically show up that you added in the electrical tree. You don't have to add electrical parts here, only the mechanical parts. So if you see on cabinet layout tab, there's a scale button here. I can say my cabinet looks pretty small. I want to scale it out, show a bigger picture, 1, 2, 3. So now I can go right click, insert a cabinet, show a larger picture. I know when I'm going to buy a cabinet, door's going to come along with it. So I can draw a rectangular shape for the door to show my door components on the cabinet drawing. So now I can go right click, I'm inserting a rail or a duct. So I've got my, oh, this one's a rail. So I'm going to click, draw a rail, right click, insert another rail. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a rail and I'll draw a smaller rail. So when I do a click method to draw a rail, if Victor tells me, hey Vip, I've added a very small rail, I want to change the size of it. So right on your cabinet layout tab, you've got a button here to change the rail or duct length. When you click on this button, you can say change length of this guy, make it longer or shorter, or you can type the actual value. So I'm going to make it longer and click OK or check mark, finish the command. So I can go right click, insert a duct. So if you don't like orientation, you can right click, flip it. If you want a vertical duct and click. So in the same way, you can add rails and ducts. Now you can add electrical parts by right click, insert a fuse. So I'm inserting a fuse component, default orientation, and it shows me F1 component mark that this is a fuse, right? So Spike said the length of rail you type is the actual displayed side of the real world size. Okay, so now all the properties of the length of the rail. So if I go to that rail that I've added, I can right click on this, go to the properties of it. So you would see the rail properties, the physical properties would be coming from your manufacturer catalog from the properties from here. So this is where all the you can see the adjustable length property, the actual length that I had defined is coming from here. So these properties now will show up in your bill of material, but this is where all the mechanical accessories properties would be stored, and then you can show this in your reports, right? So you can also right click on the component here, get to the properties here, manufacturer part properties. Anything you see here is what you would see into your report, the realistic properties, right? So what's coming from manufacturer is the realistic item, but what you see here in the graphics, it's scaled larger or smaller, it's imaginary. But what you see in the reports would be realistic. Yes, Tom.
The back panels.
Yes.
Sometimes a panel has a back panel in it. Sometimes it doesn't.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
didn't see that. It obviously talks about rails and ducts, does
Hmm.
and cabinets. But does it have a back panel, or is it just assumed it's there or not there?
So if you do want to show that, because anything you show in this list, do you want that back panel to show up in your bill of material list separately? Then yes. So if you add it separately here, it's going to show up in your project reports. And if you add a back panel separately, if you're placing an order for it separately, then yes, you would be adding it manually here, then showing it manually. If you're telling me, VIP, for example, for the door, I'm not placing a separate order for door. It's coming with the cabinet. So I'm not showing door separately in this list because anything I see here will show up in my bill of material list. And then Victor's going to say, hey, Tom, back panel is coming with your cabinet. Why are you ordering it separately? So it's up to you. What do you want? If you want to order it separately, then that component should exist for you separately into your library in your
Some
manufacturer parts manager,
some
right?
enclosures it is separate,
Yes.
especially if you get like a fiberglass or a plastic enclosure, then
Hmm.
you will choose a back panel to match it in a material you want. You want
Yes.
galvanized,
Hmm.
carbon steel, stainless steel, something like that. That
Mhm.
would be a separately ordered component.
Yes. So it depends upon your situation at that specific time, that at that time are you because anything I see here, it's part of my bill of material list. My manager's going to look at it and say, okay, VIP is looking for this part. If there is something that he cannot place an order for, he's going to come back to me and say, VIP, are you sure the real part does exist? This part does exist? Or then I'll say, oh no, I accidentally added it. This was supposed to be, it's part of the cabinet. It's coming with the cabinet. So it's up to you, Tom. You have to manage your libraries and define what exactly do you want in your libraries. What do you want in your situation? So
Okay.
libraries have to be predefined. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So you don't have to waste time. You would notice here, Tom, when I added a fuse, it gave me this dumb square kind of rectangular kind of symbol. So you would say, Vip, I'm not happy with your symbol. What are you showing? This doesn't look great. So you can right click on this. You can delete the 2D footprint symbol. I can let it go and I can say right click insert. So for they do not have a lot of 2D footprint symbols. So what they did is for every class, for fuses class, they linked one 2D footprint. For terminal strips class, they linked one 2D footprint. So the same way in 3D, they linked one 3D model for all fuses, one 3D model for all terminal strips. If you're not happy with it, you can click other and you can find anything else from your library if that does exist. If it's not there, you have to either create a new one or you have to get to your electrical content portal and download 2D footprint symbols from there. Okay, Spike, I hope that answers your question. So I'm going to add a couple more components here. Click, click. In the same way, I'm going to add a terminal strip. Right click, insert terminal strip. I'm adding it here. So one click. I need no spacing in between my terminals. Spacing is 0. Orientation is here. So I'll click here and drop them here. In the same way, on my door, I can show up my lights and alarms. Right click, insert. If it shows me the right symbol, great. If not, I can click other and I can say, hey, this is my green indicator light. I'll drop it here. If it's too small, get your cabinet layout, change the scale. So the next one is if I'm showing a green push button, right click insert, other symbol, and I'll show a big green button right here. So I can use the one or I can manually browse what I'm looking for. So these are your cabinet layout drawings. If I check my project reports tab now, which we'll do together in our last lesson now, so you would see all the mechanical parts, all the electrical parts. So this is my mechanical, my cabinet, and this and this. These are my mechanical ducts and rails. You can see the quantity 4 and 3, and the cabinet is 1, right? So all the mechanical, electrical are together in one bill of material list. So there is a new enhancement in 24. If Tom tells me, VIP, I'm not placing an order for this cabinet, don't show in the BOM. I can get to that cabinet manufacture part properties. Each manufacture part has this new button now, exclude from BOM. I can check it on, hit OK. Anytime I'm going to use this, it's asking me, VIP, do you always, is this the only transaction you don't want this item to show in your BOM, or do you never want to show that in your BOM, save that in your library? So then you would pick and choose that maybe only for this transaction, don't show that in the BOM, please, because I'm not placing an order for it. We bought an extra one before. So give me a thumbs up if it makes sense to you how to show mechanical accessories, adding manufacturer part to location, or adding mechanical accessories in actual component manufacturer properties. Ryan, Wilson, Ted, Vadim. Yes, Wilson. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, they do have a mark. See, I'm reading an actual mark. So I don't care about what, I mean, location is here. The same thing applies here. You've got a function showing and you've got F1 mark, F2 mark, J1 mark, K1. But these guys don't have a mark. You're right. The mechanical parts don't have a mark because I'm not showing them in my electrical tree. So if I get back to my reports now, so you can see if I look at BOM report, so look at all the mechanical parts, which is this one. So it's showing a location here. Then I'll say maybe for this guy, I do not want to show the mark tree at all. Why my account manager who's placing an order, who cares? He's not going to care about the marks for me, right? But this is just Yeah, so then you can remove that mark column, right click properties in the report. We learn that in now together. You would get to columns tab, click on the gear. You would say, I don't care about mark. I don't want to see it. Click OK and apply and OK. So now in your report, you would not see a mark column at all. So you would see it disappear. So it's up to you. Do you want to show it or not? Very good catch. Thank you, Wilson. So you're asking really good questions. Thank you. Okay, then. So it's a very quick exercise. They want you to click couple times, then come along with me after you. Then we are going to check out your reports lesson. We'll generate reports together. It will take us less than 5 minutes. Then we can go home. So go to your exercise 15, 296 page. Thank you for your patience. So it's a very quick right click insert button. It should take you less than 5. Once you finish this exercise, show it to me quickly. I'm checking your labs. Ted, are you trying this? Let's work together this time. Thank you. So go ahead and open up your drawing number 4, electrical enclosure cabinet layout drawing. Double click. It opens up a new tab on the top, cabinet layout tab. So they've done some work for you. Now, on the left hand side, you see this new component tree. Can you expand it from the middle line so you can read the names of it? Right after the symbols text, there is a small vertical line. Can you expand this so you can read the part number? Very good. So now in step number 2, they're saying anything that has a checkbox on is already inserted, and they want you to insert 036612. Right click on this, insert. Right click, insert, and this is a duct. So you can click insert a duct. Click. So now click and drop it here on the top. Very good. So one click. Now the second click is for resizing it. Do the second click on the very right. Yeah, click. Good job. So you dropped a duct. So see the check mark has got on now, Ted. Thank you. So step number 3, they're saying insert a rail. So go to part number 034480, second one in the list. Second one, no, this one already has a check mark. Right click, insert a rail. So click and drop it. One click is to drop it. Second click is to resize it. L1 and L2. Find your fuse F1, expand it. You can see, right click on that expanded component and insert and drop it there. Right on this DIN rail. So you're clamping it on the rail. So as long as you insert one, you're fine. That's okay. So the last step on step number 5, you can insert your terminal strip, the blue one, in the list, F1X1, the blue one. So right click on F1X1 terminal strip. So you have to click on the top of it and click insert terminal strip. Drop it on the very bottom DIN rail, please. The last one on the bottom. Good. Right here. Thank you. So I hope this worked for you all. What if I ask you one question, Ted? So let's say if I've got a component called F1J1, look at my, who's going to tell me why cannot I insert a 2D footprint symbol for F1J1? Why? Why doesn't it allow me?
We haven't
Why?
assigned a footprint to it yet.
No manufacturer part is linked to it. So also in 3D, when people will say, Vip, I cannot right click insert a part, it's because it does not let you insert it if manufacturer part is missing. So in this case, it's a ground symbol I had shown in the properties, the manufacturer part. What am I going to use for ground? So then I know, okay, it's some sort of a dummy symbol that I'm using. So which is why it doesn't allow me to add it, because it's missing a manufacturer part. In 3D, it's not going to let you add a 3D model if it's missing a manufacturer part, right? Thank you. Thank you, Ted. So I'm going to pick one another person, and then we'll open our reports lesson. So Casey, so one click is to drop it. Second click is to resize it. So make your drawing smaller first. Click once. Click. So with the left mouse click, Casey, click once. Good. Now you can move it left and right. So move it to the very right and put it in a perfect fit there. Second click. Good job. Click here with the left click. Thank you. So you've got your rail. Now you can, oh, you've got your duct. Now you can add a DIN rail. I think this is the rail you added on the very top. This is a DIN rail that you added. So click on this DIN rail, move it down. So click on top of it. What you just dropped, you would see a pink point. You can hold the pink point, bring it down. Bring it down. Very good. Somewhere here is fine. Drop it here. So see, there is a one item that is missing a check mark. That's your duct. So right click on that item, click on insert a duct, and click and drop it, please. One click is to drop it. Second click is to resize it. One click. Aha. Second click. So proud of you. That's fine. If you said, oh, Vip, I've messed up the size of it, you can use the update rail or duct length size right under the draw tab on cabinet layout. There is a button. So now you can manually type in the value, or you can resize it manually, make it smaller. That's fine. Hit escape, finish the command. Good to go. So now add one electrical component for me, please, as add a fuse F1. So Casey, you cannot read the tree right now. Can you expand the middle vertical line so you can read the names properly? So right next to the symbols, there is a small vertical line on the top of the column header. Good job. So where's your F1 fuse? Very good. Expand it, please. Right click on that item and click insert. And drop it on the DIN rail. Yay. Awesome. Thank you. So do the one last insert for me for the blue one, the last one, terminal strip X1. Don't worry about F2. Right click on this, say insert terminal strip, and drop it anywhere on the DIN rail. Anywhere. Amazing. Thank you so much, Casey. Good job. All right. So now stop clicking, please. I'll show you quickly a design rule check, how to evaluate your mistakes, but come along with me, all of you. Close this project for me now. Stop clicking. Come along with me and open up lesson 17, the last lesson. So I'll talk about lesson 18 is programming. You don't need that. They added a new lesson in this book, which is for people who know Microsoft SQL coding language. So if you do know coding, you can check out lesson 18, and I'll talk about why to work on the coding language. We'll learn that in the 17th lesson. So open up the case study. This time use the case study folder. Don't use the exercise folder. Open up lesson number 17, please. We will generate reports together. So I'm going to start checking your labs. Open lesson 17, case study. Jean, you can click finish, finish, finish. Fine. So Vadim, right click, close the project, please. Go to Unarchive button on the project manager. Jump to lesson 17. On the top left corner, there's a second button. Jump to lesson 17. Open the case study folder. Open this lesson. Double click. Just keep clicking next, next, finish. Thank you. Good job, Ryan. So Ryan, you can get to the electrical project tab and click on big reports button for me and wait for me.
electrical project. So you're generating a report from the project. That's how I remember it. So click on reports. Good job. Wait for me. You can evaluate your BOM list, Ryan, while I'm helping others. So click on bill of material list, the second one. This is what we're going to fix. You can click generate button, Gene, and see the preview in your drawings how bad this report looks. Then we will fix all the problems. So check on the second one, BOM, and click OK on the bottom. Generate it. Check all the problems. We'll fix those problems. So now, thank you, Vadim. Wait for me. I'll come back. So Alex, good job. Open the project. Very good. Ted, you opened it. Thomas. Okay, good. Once everyone opened a project, come with me. Click on this project tab. That's how you remember it. So you're generating a whole report from the project. So get to project tab. Click on the second last button, reports button, please. Reports. And this big window pops up for you. So we are looking at bill of materials report, which is the second report here. So this is, click on the second report, the BOM report, bill of material report, the green one. Please click on that. So this is the report we are modifying. Then we will generate report. Then we'll be done. So now, if you look at this BOM report, look through the list and read all the report. List of cable cores, bill of material, list of cables, list of wires. If that tells me, Vip, I'm looking for a specific report, it's not in the list, what do I do? So stop clicking now. I'll tell you when to click. Stop clicking, please. Watch my screen. We're almost done. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll fix the problem together, Spike. So Spike, make sure you're in lesson number 17, not exercise 17. Lesson 17. Use the case study folder, not exercise, please. It has to be the case study, not the exercise. Thank you. Open it up quickly. Say yes, that's fine. Thank you, Ted. Open the case study, please. I don't need the exercise. I need case study, same as mine. Thank you. And click OK, finish. Yep. Awesome. Thank you. So now stop clicking, please. Watch my screen. I'm going to tell you when to click. So let's say Ryan tells me, Vip, I'm looking for a specific report that doesn't exist in this list. If you're looking for generating any report, you can click on add button here. I can go search how many reports are available. I can find anything that I'm looking for. I would use my filters on the top and type, I'm looking for some sort of cables report. I'll type in cable and then I can use my filters, check. And let's say if I'm looking for this cable cores report, I can check it on and click OK. So don't add it, please. Just wait for me. I'm just showing you how to add a new report by using this add button. Wait for me. I'm going to tell you when to click. Okay. So all we're going to do is, any report, how come this project remembered my 5 reports in here? I did not have to waste time adding a new one. So if you would add these reports here and save a template from this project, next time I'm going to start a project using this template, it's going to remember my 6 reports. I don't have to waste time adding a new one. Why? Because anything you do on project tab is part of your template. So your reports button is on project tab. So if I added 6 reports and I save a template, next time I start a project, I would see the 6 reports. So give me a thumbs up if that makes sense to you. How come these 5 reports showed up here for us automatically? Because they were part of our template. Okay. So anything that you would use often, you would add them here before you save a template. It will remember those reports for you. So now we need to generate a bill of material report. This report would look like this. It's pretty bad. We'll fix all the problems on this. First of all, select your BOM. You don't have to pre-select anything. Click on Generate Drawings button. Click on that button. Come with me. Click on Generate Drawings button. Now it's asking you which report do you want to generate. So I want to generate the green one, the bill of material one. I'll talk about it why it's green. Same thing in the back-ending configurations. I'll talk about it in a few minutes why this is green, why not red. So please check the box on. On the right hand side, you can expand this window. You can change the folder structure. Where do you want to generate the report? But okay, generate the report. Close this window, get to your documents tab, open up the report. Open it up, please. Let's see. Click on generate drawing button, Casey. Double click, open the report. Wilson, close this window, please. Close. Go to your documents tab. So we will figure out what problems we have in the report. So we will fix those problems. Vadim, close this window, get to your documents tab, open the report, close. Yeah, good job. So now, Alex, you can close this window. Double click and check the preview of your report on the drawings tab, documents tab.
Vip, I don't think my screen's showing what yours is, unless I did it.
Oh, really? Okay, Tom, give me 1 sec. Let me check your lab quickly. Oh, you have to activate it. Double click on that bomb report. Double click. Open it up. Like
Okay,
that. Yes.
thank you. Apparently I did
No
it
problem.
twice.
Okay. No, it's because if it doesn't fit on one page, then it jumps to the second page automatically. So I have 2 pages too, because
Okay.
one page was not good enough for the number of items I had in my bomb, right? And now we will figure out what problems we have in here. Then we will all fix those problems. Hey, Vadim, what's the one problem you see in this report? Vadim, can you tell me, please? Any one problem you see here? Anything you could think of that you want to change in this report? Please tell me. Okay, missing. Okay, yeah. It's missing a description line item, which means that part number is missing a description column. So I can get to my library, manufacture part manager, find that part, add a description. Okay. But another thing you see with the actual report, description column is pretty wide. How crazy is that? I can't even, the text is too small. Maybe I want to change the text height, style, font. The column is too wide. Maybe I want to show the quantity column in the end. I want to rearrange my columns. I want to show the manufacturer in the beginning. I do not want to break one report on the basis of manufacturer companies' names. I want to see one big table, not 10 tables like this. So maybe I want to see some other additional properties, a new columns. Maybe I want to delete a mark column. So to modify all the properties, you can either right click on the report from here. You can get back to the same button, edit button from here, or I can go to project tab, reports, and I can go to my bomb report, right click properties, or I can click properties on the top. So let's modify this report, please. So you can right click and use edit button. It will open up this window, or you can get to the reports window, right click on the report and go to properties, please. Open this big window for me quickly. So Ted, right click on the report and you can use edit button, edit report configuration. It's 4th from the bottom, 5th from the bottom. Good. Very good. Now stay here with me. You can jump to the themes tab. Themes, this is where we can change the height, style, text. In the middle, there are many tabs. We'll change all this. Thank you, Thomas. Thanks, Victor. Casey, good. Ryan, right, yeah, go to right click on the bomb report, go to properties, please. Right click, properties, good job. Or you can try double clicking. Wow, awesome. So now you can see on the themes tab, stop clicking, please. Stop clicking. I'll tell you when to click. On the themes tab, I can control the outer side text. You can see the preview on the bottom. What do you see outside? If you break this report into multiple tables, the tag that it's using right on the top, so I'm breaking that big table on the basis of that factor. The outside text, I can change the text height, style, font. So then the actual text within the box, I'm changing the height, style, font, all the properties here. So what you see in the this is the actual content, but the general tab is my column header. So what you see in this, do you want to change the color, height, style? So as basic as changing the text height and style. So if you've got a total length of the wires, cables, the total value is going to show in the red color text, and that's your total field. So any kind of text height style you would control from here. But we don't care about the text height style. We need to get to the columns tab. So come along with me. Click on the columns tab, please. Columns. We need to add some columns, delete some columns, change the width of the columns. Vadim, click on the columns tab, please. Awesome. Thank you. So now, this was a big problem. Stop clicking. Listen, please. This was a huge problem. People would get mad at me on tech support and say, Vip, how can SolidWorks is such a large company? How cannot you add something basic as a row number? So this was a very huge problem until 2019. I would not be able to even assist people on support. This was a limitation. It would not allow me to add the numbering in the table. So if you all click on this big button, 1, 2, 3 button, now you can add row numbering simply like this. So this was a new enhancement in 2020 after 2019. When you click on this 1, 2, 3 button, now you can add a row numbering on the left. Look at that. A new column shows up for you. So Wilson, click on that big button 1, 2, 3, please. Add a new column, row numbering. Check a preview here. I can see this 1, 2, 3 column shows in the preview for me. Very good. So if Ryan tells me, Vip, I do not need the row numbering, I want to toggle it off, you can click on this big gear button here, the third button, column management button. The first empty column is your row numbering column. You can uncheck this. So click on the big button with the gear on it. This third one, column management button, a pop-up window pops for you, Ryan. So this is where you can uncheck the row numbering if you don't want it. But this is where you can on and off what buttons or what columns do you want and what not. So any columns can be checked on and checked off, right? So let's say if Ryan tells me, Vip, I want to show my length for the wires or cables in metric, or I want to show the length in imperial. So you can scroll this gray bar. You can toggle on the length in metric, imperial here, and you can check. But this is our BOM report. This is not our cables report or wires report. So I don't need anything other than what I have. I'll click OK. Just keep my row numbering column on. So thank you for that. All right, thank you, Vadim. I got your message. So Spike said, when I check length in both metric and imperial, will it do the conversion? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Good. So now let's quickly add, I know people want to step away. Let's quickly add a couple columns, then we will update a report. So now you would say, Vip, I'm looking for a column, a property. For example, I want to show the voltage or a fuse, ampere value. And then you would say, Vip, I can't see that property here. What do I do? So if you don't see this property here, don't worry about it. We can click on this big blue plus sign. We can add a brand new column from here. So click on this plus sign, please. Let's create a brand new property, a new column called, you can call it amp value, ampere value, or current rating. So give it a good name in English. I'll call it current rating. So click on this big plus blue sign, add a brand new column, give it a good name. Now we will generate a formula for it to pull out that property. So click on FX button, and the variables tab, the formula you're going to use is this BOM value 1. I'll talk about why to use this formula, why not something else. So please double click and add BOM value 1. Double click and add BOM value 1, please, and click OK. Then you would say, Vip, are you kidding me? How can you use this formula? How do you know that this formula is going to pull up your current ampere value? The BOM value 2 is going to pull up your voltage value. BOM value 3 is going to pull up the RPM for motors. So I'm going to show you where to find that information, that how these variables, what information it's going to bring for us. I'll teach you that. Book doesn't talk about this. So click OK. So use your born value 1. Some people will make a mistake. They will find a formula. They will forget giving a name. When you click OK, it gives you an error. So it won't save it until you give a good description in English. So call it current rating, amp value, current value, whatever name you want. This is going to be. So click OK. So new column will show up for you. So give me a thumbs up if new column showed up for you, all of you. Let me start checking your labs quickly. Thank you, Ryan. So proud of you. Ryan, your row numbering is missing. Can you click on 1, 2, 3 for me just for this? The next one. So see, the new column came in the beginning. You can also see the preview with the row number. Thank you, Ryan. Jean, use born value 1, please double click. Click OK. Click OK, finish the command, add a new column. Wilson, so proud of you, thanks. Ted, good job. Row numbering and column, very good. Casey, do you have it? Okay, good. So now the next part is, so you know now if you change your mind, you're telling me, Vip, I don't need the current rating, remove it. So when you click on this column management tab now, you would see the new column you added shows up here. So if you don't want it, you can uncheck it. So scroll this gray bar, but we do need it, so we'll leave it checked. So you can uncheck it from that same big gear where we check the columns on and off from. Okay, so now the next part is, so read this. In the header in English, it shows the reference, then it shows mark, then it shows description. So maybe you want to change the column header for the quantity column and you want to change it to QTY. So could you all rename this header in English for the quantity column for me? Can you change and type something else? Maybe an abbreviation of QTY. So could you change the column header for me, please? Double click on it and you should be able to type in there. It's editable. All right. So the next part is, maybe for manufacturer part, it's too long name. I want to call it MFG, or I can call it part number. So rename it. So the next part is, you can change your column width. Look at your width column here. So the description width was pretty wide. Can you change this description width, make it maybe 30 or 25? So you can reduce the width of all these columns, make it smaller so your table looks better for you. So you can just put any random values in range of 20 or 25. So let's say if I try to forcefully make it a pretty small value of 1 or 2, it's going to say Vip. If I try to put 1, it's going to say, hey, it does the maths and it automatically changes that the shortest you can have is this. Okay, so change the width. We're almost done. Let me check your lab. Thank you, sir. Alrighty. So current rating is showing up for you. So you need to change the formula for it. Double click on the under the current rating, double click. Does it? So click on FX button in the big FX button. Go to your variables tab. Good job. Double click on born value 1. Double click. Add it in the bottom box. See? Good job. Click OK. Click OK. Finish the command. Awesome. So proud of you. Thanks. Unfortunately, yes, it does wrap a text for you. So if I say the wrap text will automatically work if I have a width as 15, for example, in description, if I have width 30, so when it reaches that 30, it moves to the next line, the next line, the next line. Every time it reaches in that line to 30, then it will move to the next line. So yes, the wrap automatically does work for you on the basis of the width. So we change the width, we change the column header. Now come with me. What you could do is, so you can move your quantity column maybe to the very, just before the current rating. So drag, you can move them before and after. So you can drag and rearrange them, move them before that column or after that column. So maybe I want my reference part number but I want my manufacturer company's name. This was the company's name. So I'll say manufacturer company. I renamed it to manufacturer part number accidentally. So my company's name, I want to move it before the part number. So I should know first which company's part it is before I want to know the part number, right? So I moved my manufacturer column to the very beginning. After the row number, now I have a reference number. Then I can have, if I want mark, I can keep it. Maybe I want to move mark before the part number, reference number. So rearrange couple of columns, please. You don't have to keep the same as mine. Don't worry about keeping it same. So now once you finish rearranging, any questions right now for rearranging? Almost done here. Hopefully that worked for you. So come to your sort and break tab. Tell them I don't want to break this table into multiple tables. Uncheck the sort and break. Uncheck it. We'll come back and break it again. Uncheck this, please. So I'll say don't break it, please. Leave it one large table for me. So now you would go to click apply button and close button. Apply and close. If your drawing was already generated, you can click on update button and try updating it. Or you can click generate drawing button again. And hopefully this is gonna, when you click OK, it's gonna replace that report for you. So click generate drawings again. If you're sitting in here, you can right click and use update button from here as well. Or you can delete and create it again. So your table should look something like this. I'll start checking. Tom, let me see yours. Okay, Tom. So now you can right click on that BOM list on the left, right click on that report in the tree, in the document tree, in the document tab. This is my documents tab, Tom, on the very left. Right click on this and click on update report drawings button. It's sixth from the bottom. Update report drawings. Good job. Does it update for you? Aha, I did. So proud of you. Thanks. Look, evaluate your report now. Victor, did that work for you? Good job. Ted, your description column still seems pretty wide. So let's fix that problem. So right click on the BOM, click on edit button. Thank you, Ted. So go to your columns tab, please, right on the top, columns. On the left-hand side, locate your width column, fourth from the top. On the middle, it says 250 for the description width. Make it 30, please. 30. Click apply and OK. Close, close. Right click on that BOM report in the left and update. Good job. Amazing. So who needs help with this? Okay, let me check it, Alex. One sec. Alex's lab is here. Oh, so Alex, right click on the BOM report, please, on the left in the tree. Click on edit button. So what property we changed? Edit report, yeah. So we went to your sort and break tab and we unchecked that break on the right hand side. That don't break in many tables, give me one table. Click apply and update your report. So you would have one big table. Close this, right click on the BOM report, update button. Thank you, sir. So you've got one big table now. So later on in the next step, we'll break it into multiple tables, picking one property, one variable, one factor. Ted, hit Control E on the keyboard, E for electrical, Control E. Good job. Thank you. So Ted, in your case, it's in the middle of the screen because you moved it. You can delete the report and add it again if you want, but you can click on this table. You would see this blue point. You can drag it and move it again if you want. Yep. So if it's not moving diagonally, it's because your ortho is on. You can turn off your ortho underneath instructor looking. Toggle it off. You can go diagonally. It's the second button, second one. Now you can move it diagonally. Try it. Good. Yes. So almost there, Jean. So proud of you. Let me check. Very good. Vadim, did that work for you? Show me the, okay, Vadim. So get to your sort and break tab for me. Oh, okay, sorry, I forgot. Spike, why is your, okay, description looks fine. I'm okay with that, thanks. All right, so the last step here is now you would say VIP, stop clicking, please. Everyone's lab looks good. So now you would say VIP, I know how to rearrange the columns. I know where to control the text. But something like this, Vadim told us that VIP for this manufacturer company, the part number, the description is missing. So you know it's coming from that manufacturer catalog. I'm not going to sit here and get to my component tree, find that component, find that part number, add the description. If Tom's telling me, VIP, generate this report fast, I need it. So rather than going to that ABB part, I can try clicking on these hyperlinks. If the hyperlink works for you, so it does work, then I can quickly get to the description of it. So I can go to description and add in English test. So if I click OK and add it, it's telling me, VIP, do you want to update it for future or this transaction only? I'll say, please, only this transaction. So you can try updating your report and see if it's going to show up for you. If not, then you can double check why it's not updating for you. So I'm going to go try updating it and see if it shows up. Some people will say, VIP, I'm not going to update. And so see, after updating, it did show up the test for me. So scroll down, find description in English, and type anything random. I thought it will automatically appear without updating, but unfortunately, I had to update again. So scroll down, description in English, type anything. Thank you. All right. Only this transaction. Don't update your library, please. Update your report, Wilson. On the left, go to your Documents tab. On the Documents tree, right next to the component tree, where are your drawings? Right-click on the bomb, Update. 5th button from the bottom. Update report config. Yep. You would see now test will appear up right on the top. Zoom on it, read it. Good job. Scroll up. Thank you. So Thomas, yep, anything is fine. Only this transaction. On the left-hand side, update your bomb. Good job. And you should see an updated description. Some people will say, VIP, you were lucky you had a hyperlink in this case. What if I don't have a hyperlink? How can I do? Sometimes it does show a hyperlink, sometimes it doesn't. Then you can definitely go to your Draw tab. You can click on Add a Text button, and you can manually type a text, TEXT, and click OK and drop it anywhere. But this is just doing work manually, that if I'm in a hurry, I want to add it manually, I went to my Draw tab. I used the Add Text button manually. You don't have to do this, but you know you can do this if you want it, right? So Draw tab, Add Text, you can put the text. Here. I've got my, I want to modify this, maybe a
Question.
description I want to, yes, please, I got scared. Yeah.
Where you just drew that word test, does
Yes.
that actually put it into
No.
the chart, or is
It's
it
a
just
dump
sitting there
text.
on the document? Whereas if you
It's on the
finally go back and
document.
put it in information properly, it's going to show
Right.
test over the top of whatever's in the
So
chart.
see, yeah, so it's a dump text. It's just on the document, on the drawing. It's not in my properties. I moved my table to show it to you. The text didn't move, right? So it's just a dump text that when I'm printing it, so I don't have to bother. So I can print it for now that you're pushing it. VIP, send me the bomb, send me the bomb. So I don't have to waste time finding that property, but I can print it. But you have to be careful if you really want to match the text height, font style, all that. But it won't take you long going back to the part and adding a property there. So next time you use the pod, you're not running into the same problem, right?
So it's not
This
really
is just in
there.
case
It's
of,
just a question.
yes.
It's almost like having a piece of paper that has that word
Yes.
in the proper place ahead of time.
Absolutely, you're right. It's just a dump text, right?
Thank you.
Yes, no problem. Thank you, Tom. So now let's say Tom tells me, VIP, for your rail length, it's showing me rail. I want to show it some another additional detail along with it. Then someone said, VIP, why can't they allow me to double click and modify this text? So then Solidworks said, hey, there's a button on Modify tab. You can select your table. You can click on Explode button, which is a really crazy button, because if I click on explode this table, now everything is clickable. But if Tom gets into my project, adds 100 more parts, I would never be able to update this report again. I broke the link. I broke link from my project. I messed it up. So, but this button could be used if you're in case of emergency, you want to explode the table, you want to double click and modify the text quickly, that you're in a hurry to generate a report. But if I had exploded it, I made the mess. The only way I can fix the mess, if I want to update the report in future, I have to delete the report and create it again. So I have to go back to project reports. Now I have to click on the BOM report to generate a report again. So exploding messes it up. It breaks the hyperlinks. It breaks the motive of updating reports. Update will never work for you. Okay, alrighty then. So couple more things. So now you would say, Vip, how come you figured out for current rating you used a BOM value 1 formula? Why not user data 1? Why not BOM value 2? Why that one? So come along with me, get back to the same edit report properties window from the project tab, from the reports, or right click on in document tree and you can edit from there. Get to the properties tab. This time, before we do anything else, let's break this one big report. We will use a sort and break tab, sort and break. Let's break it on the basis of manufacture part, that all the parts from Siemens company, Schneider Electric, each parts from each company should be in one mini table. So get to your sort and break tab, check what variables you have here. If I would not have a manufacturer part variable here, I'll click on arrow and remove it. If I want my manufacturer variable, I look through the list, find my manufacturer company's name variable, manufacturer right here. I'll add that. So now I'm checking on that variable that break one big report into multiple tables on the basis of manufacturer company. So check that on, please. Some people will say, I don't want alphabetical order A to Z. I want descending order Z to A. So you can pick Z to A to Z. It's up to you. You can change the sort from A to Z or Z to A the way you want. Change it, please. Thank you. So the last part here is now, if you get back to the columns tab, so then you would ask me, Vip, how did you know this is BOM value 1 formula? So there is this big button here. If you get back to your office and the add new column and delete column button is grayed out for you, the way we added the current rating, if this big blue button is grayed out, you have to click on this activate export mode. In previous versions, this button was grayed out until we click on this export mode button. So could you all click on this big activate export mode button for me, please? Click here, please. Then it's going to give you a pop-up window. Gene, report and click edit for me. In the tree, right click, click on edit button. Good job. Open this up, please. So go to your sort and break, check on the manufacturer, the break one big table on the basis of manufacturer companies. Now come to your columns tab, please. Columns tab. So click on activate export mode button on the bottom left, this big button on the very left, white button. So all of you should see this big button. It's saying, hey, Vip, do you really have a knowledge of Microsoft companies coding SQL queries? I'll take a risk. I'll say, yes, I do know it. So, but this is only for the users. If you know SQL coding, then you would say, Vip, why do you do this coding? What's the point? So if Casey tells me I'm looking for a special property, and then when you get into your columns tab, don't come with me. I'm just going to show it to you. If now Casey's telling me, Vip, I'm looking for a special property that doesn't exist in the columns tab, I want to toggle it on, or I'm going to click on plus button, try bringing that property. If you cannot find that variable to pull that property, one of your query editors has to get into this query, click on edit button, and they have to modify this query and use the join, disjoin functions. And on the right hand side, all the big tables where all the data is stored in the backend, you have to double click, add that variable that you're looking for, that you want to show in the report. So you would not learn this. It's a Microsoft company SQL query modification, unless you are from that coding background, right? If you are asking a company that, Vip, I want to show specific properties. If it's 1 or 2 properties, we can add that in your report for you. We can customize the report for you so you can show those new columns. But if you want large modifications, then we won't be able to assist you. You have to pay extra. We've got one person who modifies these SQL queries specifically. So these are new variables that you want to show in the report but are not part of your default report, right? So you can learn in lesson 18 in the book how to add new variables if you want. But one day, luckily, I clicked on this big button. You can click on test button or test full query button. Test. A big table populates for you. So it's telling me, Vip, the way who programmed this query, all these variables are part of it. I found out bomb value one's going to show me ampere value, and then RPM value was given the kilowatts power value, IP value, RPM value. Then I can see, okay, bomb value 3 is going to give me RPM. So that's how I figured out the variables. So what I clicked on in your expert query mode, I would click on test, any of these test buttons. In your expert mode, Casey, Ted, Wilson, did that make sense to you? That's how I very top, that's the variable that's going to give me the value I'm looking for. This is going to be your formula. I'm looking for manufacturer, for my RPM, for ampere. So give me a thumbs up if it makes sense to you what this query is. Why do you modify this? Jean, Wilson, Ted, can you please tell me if you understood this? Thank you, Victor, Ted. Good. So now if you're happy with your report, it looks great, but this time you can use the sort and break, check on your manufacturer break, click apply and close. Can you all update your report for me? Break it up into many tables for me, please. Break it up, apply your sort and break, please. Good, like this. So one last step now, very last step, I promise, it's the last step. So once your table is broken up into many reports, so the last step I want to do is...
What was it you just kind of zipped a little quicker than I saw? How did you get to this?
So if I edit my report, the same sort and break that we toggled on earlier, the manufacturer company that break my big table into many tables on the basis of manufacturer, right? So,
okay.
And then I just clicked applied and closed this, and then I right clicked and updated my report.
Oh, I forgot to update. That's what it was.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. No problem. Updated. So the very last part, book doesn't talk about this. A lot of people, they call us on tech support and ask this. They would say, Vic, I only want to show Schneider Electric parts. Can I apply some filters that only show me that specific item from the report? So if you get back to the edit properties again, one last step is we'll learn to add a filter. Filter. So come to your filters tab. So click on this big filter button, please. Add a filter. Don't bother updating right now. We'll update it together after. So give any name to your filter. I'll call it jeans, manufacturer company, or specific jeans filter, whatever name I want to give it. Conditions. On your conditions, you've got all the variables on the right. What filters do you want to use? I'm going to say maybe show me if you used a supplier column. Any properties you used in the report is what you want to use. In my case, the bomb manufacturer company, I'll say, please only show me whatever companies I've used in this lesson. I'll see them in the drop-down list. I'll say, only show me ABB company parts, please. I'll click OK and apply and close. So when I get into my reports preview, so I'll help you add a filter. So now you can see, I can see my bomb report, or I can say jeans filter, only show me ABB parts, then I can generate a report. So show me a default report, no filter, and show me with the filter. So let's see your labs. What do you have? You can use any variable. So Jean, yes, you can use many conditions or one. You can use and condition two. Which variable do you want? Maybe a specific, you can use a location. If you want, you can pick location L1. Pick any company, any random company. Click OK. Click apply, close this. So get to your project tab reports button, check the preview first. You can also update and check the preview. But hey, you cannot check preview and use filters here. You have to get back to the reports button. Good. So by default, it's going to show you no filter. Expand this column. Check on your filter. Click on the filter button. Good. People are watching and learning, Jean. Thank you. Filter. So you can see that. Then you can generate a report only with that filter. So you can add one filter or many conditions like you did, Gene. You can also use and that show me Schneider Electric and L1 location door, right? So you can use multiple variables. Ryan, let's see, what do you have? Right click on that report, edit, please. All right. No, click it on the tree, on the document tree. So your labs are going to close in 1 minute now. So we are done here. You can click on edit button, please. Edit. They would close in 30 seconds. So now on the filters tab, you did add a filter. So you can actually click on it and delete the filter. So your labs will close now. And I'm going to show you last thing. If you're telling me, Vip, I don't like this filter, I want to delete the filter. So you can right click when the filter is on. You can see, you can click on edit filter button, and then I can go back and edit it again. See? Right? So I can add another variable. Then I can say BOM, company's name ABB, and I want to see supplier company so and so, but I didn't have any supplier factor, so it doesn't show me any result. Right? So that's how you can add your filters, update your report. You can edit filters, you can right click, you can update your report. All the updated changes, you would see them here. So you cannot change the filter on and off from here. So I can delete this report. Once I delete it, get back to the reports tab. I can toggle the filter on and off, filter off, generated, filter on, generated. Okay. So the last part is design rule check. Like I said, you can evaluate your mistakes from here, adding. You can say, show me any equipotential conflicts. So you can check it out in your book. Then it's going to say, Vip, you've got no conflict, like that. So you can find different reports, evaluate them using design rule check, and fix those problems using DRC. So we got into very much details of the reports lesson. I hope I met your expectations. Thank you so much for everyone's patience. This was a larger class, so we had a lot more questions. So I'm going to be emailing you all. You would get your certificates that you finished properly. You were in the class. You listened carefully. You would get your certificates tomorrow evening at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll generate those certificates today after I put in my attendance sheet for you all. So everyone listen carefully. Thank you for that. But you've got my email address. Can you all make a note of our technical support email first, please? So make a note of this email. So you can give us a call if you don't like typing and don't like emailing. You can call us on this number, Trimex Support. Please add this page to your Word document, Trimex Support homepage. Please call us. Ask questions. We will only help you if your company bought a license with subscription. If your company did not pay for subs, tech support guy is going to say, hey, Alex, you don't have subs. I cannot assist you. You need to purchase subs first, right? So your subscription has to be valid. For US clients, you can call us on this phone number. Use that link, save that link. You would see on this link, there is a long web form you can fill up. Don't waste time filling it up. Indirectly, this web form is emailing us at support@trimec.com inbox. That's our technical support inbox. So don't waste time filling this web form. Email us at support@trimec, please. If you're not happy with the tech support, they're not helping you properly, you can email me. I'm not teaching rest of the month. I'm on my desk. If you would email me, I'd be helping you, or I'll direct you to the right team. So my email address is here. I would be sending you a closure email with some useful links. You can use our Trimec company's blog. We have really good blogs written. Blog. So you can search all the electrical. So please use our Trimec blog. And then we have a Javelin blog. You would find a lot more useful articles on both of our websites. I wrote a bunch of articles here as well. So you have to filter electrical blogs on the Javelin blog and Trimec blog. Luckily, Trimec company has a vlog. We have videos and some pre-recorded sessions for you, like the title block one that I sent you, how to add rows and columns. Or you can go to our Trimac YouTube page, and you would see many electrical topics on YouTube. So you would strictly search SolidWorks electrical. SolidWorks. I did not mean to show you my history from YouTube. I'm kidding. Can you all laugh now? Are you tired? So you can use YouTube and find some useful quick videos if you cannot search, if you don't like reading a boring manual. Thank you, Spike. Thanks, Tom. So you would find a Trimac homepage. Use the good videos from Trimac company. And there's another company called, you might see some videos from Hawkrate. Some Solidworks has its own video. So some of the people in the class, they would be interested to learn about harnesses. I found some beautiful videos on harnesses from Solidworks company. I'll be sharing that link with you all. I sent it to someone last week. I found really good videos about harnesses. So I'm going to show you. I sent harnesses video to one of my students. Oh, this guy, he was a manager from some private company that I taught. So I'll share all these harnesses videos with you if you're looking to learn about harnesses. Okay, thank you, Spike. I'll forward this to all of you. So these videos are shared by Solidworks company with us. Okay. So I'm going to send them to you after the class once I'm done here. So any final comments before you go home? Please make sure they might ping your email about a survey. If VIP was helpful in the class, if she really paid attention, cared about you. So please do a survey for me, add a couple notes. It really affects your performance. I hope I help you. And you've got my email. You can email me. I'll help you on. I can create a tech support ticket and assist you. I can charge my tech support team for that. So how do you guys feel? Anyone? How do you feel so far? Do you feel confident, Jean? Jean, can you please unmute for one time? Well, last time, yeah. How do you feel with the tools and tabs?
Yeah, I'm interested to dig further in it.
You're okay? Do you feel confident as compared to day one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay, thank you, Jean. Good. So Ryan, how do you feel? Do you feel good with these tools and tabs now? Okay, better, okay, thank you. But again, it will come with practice. You cannot expect to learn in 16 hours a full program. Absolutely, you need practice. Thank you, Victor. So Spike, how do you feel?
Yeah, feeling quite happy with that. Just need to dig into it.
Okay, good. Thank you, Spike. All right, so you guys have a wonderful evening. If you have to go, please feel free to disconnect. If you want to chat,